I'm 51 years old now, and for the last 33 years, I've been keeping a secret so big, so impossible, that telling it could destroy everything I've built. In the barn behind my house, hidden from the world, protected from those who would capture him or kill him, lives a creature the government has been hunting for decades. His name is Ezra. At least that's what I call him. And he's a Bigfoot, a real living, breathing Sasquatch. I found him in October 1991, dying in the woods near my property, caught in an illegal bear trap, his leg mangled, bleeding out, alone, terrified, and I made a choice that day that changed both our lives forever. For 33 years I've hidden him, fed him, protected him, kept him safe from a world that would never understand. He became my family, my responsibility, my friend. But 3 days ago, the federal agents finally found us, surrounded my property, demanded access to my barn, and what happened next, what they did when they finally saw him, it's not what anyone would expect. This is the story of how an ordinary woman became the guardian of something extraordinary, and why, after 33 years of silence, lies, and isolation, I'm finally ready to tell the truth. October 1991, the Cascade Mountains of Oregon. I was 18 years old, just graduated high school, living alone on 80 acres of forest land I'd inherited from my grandfather. My name is Elena Martinez, and back then I was just trying to figure out how to survive. My parents died in a car accident when I was 16. My grandfather passed a year later. The property was all I had left. That cabin, that forest, that isolation. People thought I was crazy. An 18-year-old girl living alone in the mountains. No phone, no neighbors for miles. Nothing but trees and wildlife and silence. But I didn't see it that way. I saw it as freedom, peace, a place where nobody could hurt me anymore. The cabin was small, 2 bedrooms, wood stove for heat, kerosene lamps for light, outhouse, hand pump for water. It was 1991, but I might as well have been living in 1891. That's how remote it was. I made money doing odd jobs in town, waitressing at the diner, cleaning houses, splitting firewood for people. It wasn't much, but it kept me fed, kept the property taxes paid. That was all I needed. I spent my free time exploring the property, taking photographs, wildlife mostly. I loved photography. Had an old 35mm camera my grandfather gave me. Black bears, deer, elk, mountain lions once. I documented everything, kept journals, recorded what I saw, when I saw it, where. I was good at being alone. I preferred it, actually. After losing my parents, losing my grandfather, I didn't want to get close to anyone. People leave, people die. Animals and forests don't betray you. October was always my favorite month. The tourists were gone. Hunting season hadn't started yet. The forest was mine, just mine. The leaves turning gold and red, the air crisp and clean, the mountains dusted with the first snow. I'd hike for hours, miles into the property, places nobody had been in years, maybe decades. Old logging roads overgrown with ferns, creek beds full of salmon running upstream, valleys where elk gathered. It was beautiful, wild, untouched. My grandfather used to tell me stories about the mountain, about things he'd seen, tracks he couldn't explain, sounds in the night that weren't bears or cougars, something else, something bigger. He never said the word Bigfoot. He was too practical for that. But he'd get this look in his eyes, like he knew something he wasn't saying. I thought they were just stories, old man's stories, the kind you tell around campfires to scare kids. I had no idea how wrong I was. October 15th, 1991. It was a Wednesday. I remember because I'd been planning to go into town the next day, pick up supplies, mail some photographs to a wildlife magazine that had expressed interest in buying them. The morning was cold, frost on the ground, my breath visible. I made coffee on the wood stove, ate oatmeal, checked my gear, camera, water bottle, knife, matches, the basics. I was heading to the northeast corner of the property, an area I hadn't explored much, too far to reach in a day usually, but I had time. No job scheduled, no obligations, just me and the forest. I left at 8 a.m., sun just clearing the mountains. The light was perfect, golden, soft. Everything looked magical. The hike took 3 hours, through dense forest, over ridges, along a creek that ran fast and cold. I stopped to photograph a family of deer, a hawk perched in a dead tree, mushrooms growing on a fallen log. Around 11 a.m. I heard it, a sound that made every hair on my body stand up. A scream, not human, not quite animal, something in between. A sound of pure agony that echoed through the trees and made birds scatter from their perches. I froze. Every instinct said run. Go back. This is danger. This is predator. This is death. But I didn't run. I moved toward the sound. I don't know why. Curiosity. Stupidity. Some part of me that couldn't walk away from suffering. Whatever it was, it pulled me forward. The screaming continued. Desperate, weakening, dying. I followed it for maybe 10 minutes, through thick underbrush, over logs, until I found the source. And my entire understanding of reality shattered. I pushed through the underbrush, following that terrible sound. Branches hit my face. My boots caught on roots. I didn't care. Something was suffering. Something was dying. The screaming got louder, closer. Then it stopped, just stopped, mid-cry. That's when I heard something else. Heavy breathing, labored, wet, like lungs struggling to function. I reached a small clearing, maybe 30 feet across, surrounded by massive Douglas firs that blocked out most of the sun. The ground was dark, mossy, damp. And there, near a fallen log, was something I couldn't process. At first, I thought it was a bear, a huge bear, black fur, massive. But then I saw the arm, the hand, the fingers. Not a bear at all. My camera slipped from my hands, hit the ground. The auto-win whirred, still shooting. I didn't notice. I was staring at something impossible, something that wasn't supposed to exist. A Bigfoot, a real living, breathing Sasquatch, caught in a bear trap, bleeding out, dying. He was massive. Even lying on his side, I could tell he was over 7 feet tall, maybe 8. His shoulders were broader than any human's. His arms were too long, reaching past where his knees would be if he were standing. He was covered in dark brown hair, thick, matted with blood. His chest rose and fell rapidly, shallow breaths struggling. His left leg was caught in the trap, one of those old illegal ones. Steel jaws with teeth, the kind that had been banned for decades but still littered these forests. The teeth were buried deep in his calf. Blood pooled around it. Dark. Too much blood. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. My brain was trying to reconcile what my eyes were seeing with everything I knew about the world. This doesn't exist. This can't exist. This isn't real. But he was real. Solid. Physical. Bleeding. Dying. Then he saw me. His head turned. Slowly. Painfully. And he looked directly at me. His face. God, his face. It was almost human. But not quite. The brow was too heavy. The nose too broad and flat. The jaw too pronounced. But the eyes were human. Dark brown. Intelligent. Aware. And filled with terror. He made a sound. Not a scream this time. Softer. A whimper. like a wounded dog. He tried to move, to drag himself away from me. The trap held him. He cried out in pain, a sound that went straight through my chest. We stared at each other, him terrified of me terrified of him. But also, something else. I saw the pain in his eyes, the fear, the understanding that he was going to die, that this trap had killed him, that he was alone, suffering, and nobody was coming to help. Nobody except me. I don't know what happened in that moment. Some part of my brain bypassed logic and fear and went straight to compassion. This was a living creature, in agony, trapped, dying. And I couldn't just walk away. I took a step forward, slowly, hands raised, non-threatening. He tensed, made a low rumbling sound. Warning, stay back. Easy, I said. My voice shook. Easy. I'm not going to hurt you. I want to help. He stared at me, evaluating, deciding. Could he trust me? Should he trust me? Did he have a choice? His breathing was getting worse, more labored. He was fading. I could see it, the light in his eyes dimming. I'm going to come closer, I said, taking another step. I need to see the trap, see if I can get it off. Okay? Please don't attack me. I'm trying to help. Another step, then another. He watched every movement, muscles tensed, ready to fight if he had to. Even dying, he was dangerous. Those arms, those hands, he could kill me with one swing. But he didn't. He just watched, breathing, suffering, waiting. I knelt beside the trap, 5 feet from him, close enough to smell him, earthy, musky, not unpleasant, just wild, like the forest itself. The trap was bad, really bad. The teeth had gone through muscle, maybe bone. Blood flow was slowing. That wasn't good. Either he was running out of blood or his body was shutting down. Either way, time was running out. This is going to hurt, I said, examining the trap mechanism. I need to open the jaws, release the pressure, then pull them out of your leg. It's going to hurt like hell, but if I don't do it, you're going to die here. Do you understand? I looked at him, those dark brown eyes, looking back at me, and I swear he nodded, just slightly, but he nodded. He understood. He understood what I was saying. This wasn't just an animal. This was something more, someone more. Okay, I said, more to myself than to him. Okay, let's do this. I found the release mechanism, rusted, stiff. It took all my strength to push it. The springs were powerful, designed to hold a 600-pound bear. The jaws started to open, slowly, the teeth pulling out of his flesh. He tensed, every muscle in his body rigid. A sound came from deep in his chest, low, controlled. He was trying not to scream, trying not to scare me away. Finally, the jaws opened enough. I pulled them away from his leg. The teeth came free. Blood flowed freely now, too freely. He gasped, laid his head back on the ground, breathing hard, relief and agony mixing on his face. It's out, I said, but you're bleeding bad. I need to stop the bleeding. I need to. My backpack. I had a first aid kit, bandages, not enough. Not nearly enough for a wound this size, but something. I pulled out everything I had. Gauze, medical tape, a bottle of water, iodine. This is going to sting, I warned, opening the iodine. I poured it directly into the wound. He roared. The sound echoed through the forest. Birds scattered. I jumped back, terrified. But he didn't attack. He just clenched his fists, dug them into the ground, rode out the pain. I wrapped his leg as best I could. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely tie the knots. The white gauze turned red immediately. It wasn't enough. This wasn't enough. You need a hospital, I said. You need real medical care, but I can't. I can't take you to a hospital. I don't know what they do. Study you, lock you up. I can't. He looked at me. Those eyes. So much awareness. So much understanding. He knew. He knew what humans would do to him if they found out he existed. My cabin, I said, making a decision I didn't fully understand. It's 3 miles from here. I have supplies, a wood stove, heat, food, water. You'll be safe there, hidden. But you have to trust me, and you have to walk. Can you walk? He looked at his leg, looked at me, looked at the forest around us. Then, with effort that must have been excruciating, he pushed himself up. First to sitting, then, using a tree for support, to standing. He was enormous, 8 feet tall at least, his head higher than branches I couldn't reach, his shoulders broader than any human's. Standing there, towering over me, he could have been terrifying, but all I saw was someone hurt, someone alone, someone who needed help. Lean on me, I said, moving beside him. We'll go slow as you need. He looked down at me, this tiny human offering to support a creature 3 times her size. And for the first time I saw something in his eyes besides fear and pain. I saw hope. That 3-mile walk took over 4 hours. I'd hiked that same distance that morning in less than an hour. But now, supporting a wounded Sasquatch who could barely walk, every step was a battle. He tried. God, he tried so hard. He put his arm over my shoulders, but he wasn't really leaning on me. He couldn't. He weighed at least 600 pounds. If he'd put his full weight on me, I'd have been crushed. Instead, he used me for balance, for direction, leaning against trees when he needed to rest, dragging his injured leg, leaving a trail of blood that probably marked our path for any predator in 5 miles. We moved slowly, agonizingly slowly. 10 steps, rest, 20 steps, rest. Sometimes just 5 steps before he had to stop, leaning against a tree, breathing hard, gathering strength for the next push. I tried making him a crutch, found a sturdy branch, but it was too small, too weak. It snapped under his weight immediately, so we continued, step by painful step, him leaning on trees, on rocks, on me when he had to, never complaining, never giving up, just moving forward because the alternative was dying in the forest. I brought him water from a creek we crossed. He drank carefully, sparingly, like he didn't want to take too much. Like he was aware I needed it too. Drink, I told him. You need it more than me. You've lost so much blood. He looked at me, those intelligent eyes. Then he drank. Long, deep gulps. When he finished, he made a sound. Soft, low. It took me a second to realize what it was. Thank you. He was saying thank you. The sun was moving across the sky, afternoon becoming evening, the temperature dropping. I was cold, exhausted. My shoulders ached from trying to support him. My legs burned from the slow, careful pace. But I couldn't imagine what he was going through. Every step on that injured leg must have been agony. The wound was still bleeding, not as badly as before, but steadily. My makeshift bandage was soaked through, red, dripping. He needed real medical care, antibiotics, stitches, maybe surgery. But I couldn't give him that, couldn't take him to a hospital, couldn't call a vet, couldn't do anything except get him somewhere warm and safe and hope his body could heal itself. Around 4 p.m., we hit a ridge, small one, maybe 30 feet of elevation change, but it might as well have been Mount Everest. He looked at it, looked at me. I saw defeat in his eyes. He couldn't do it, couldn't climb, didn't have the strength left. Yes, you can, I said firmly. We're almost there, less than a mile. You can do this. I know you can. He stared at me. This tiny human telling him, this massive creature, what he could and couldn't do. Then he moved forward, grabbed a tree, pulled himself up. One step, then another, using his arms more than his legs, hauling his weight through pure determination. I followed, pushing when I could, encouraging constantly. That's it. Good. Keep going. Almost there. You're doing great. It took 40 minutes to climb that ridge. By the time we reached the top, we were both shaking. Him from pain and blood loss, me from exhaustion and adrenaline crash. But from the top, I could see it, through the trees, my cabin, the barn beside it. Look, I said, pointing. There, that's it, that's home, we made it. He followed my finger, saw the buildings, and I swear I saw relief wash over his face. The final stretch was easier. Downhill, flatter. His adrenaline kicked in. Mine, too. We moved faster. Not fast, but faster than before. By 5:30 p.m., as the sun touched the mountains, we reached the barn. I'd been using it for storage. Old furniture, tools, hay bales from when my grandfather kept horses. It was dirty, dusty, but it was dry. It was warm. It was hidden. I pulled the door open, led him inside. He ducked low to fit through the doorway. Even ducking, his head brushed the top of the frame. Inside, he collapsed, just dropped to his knees, then fell sideways, laid on the dirt floor, breathing hard, eyes closed, completely spent. I thought he was dying, thought I'd brought him all this way just to watch him die in my barn. Hey, I said, kneeling beside him. Hey, stay with me. Don't you dare die. Not after all that. Not after making it this far. His eyes opened, looked at me. He was exhausted, in pain, bleeding, but alive. He lifted one massive hand, placed it over his chest, then pointed at me. I understood. He was saying he was okay. He was saying thank you. He was saying he was going to fight to survive. Good, I said, my voice breaking. Good, because we're not done yet. I need to really clean that wound, get you water, food, get you comfortable. So just rest for a minute. Let me work. He nodded, closed his eyes, trusted me completely. I ran to the cabin, grabbed everything I could think of. Medical supplies, blankets, water, food, flashlights, batteries. I made 3 trips, arms full each time. By the time I got back, it was getting dark. The barn had no electricity, no light except what came through cracks in the walls. I set up battery-powered lanterns, the barn filled with harsh white light, shadows dancing in corners. Ezra. I didn't call him that yet, didn't have a name for him, but Ezra. He watched me work, setting up a space for him, piling hay bales to make a cushioned area, spreading blankets, creating something like a bed. Can you move to this? I asked, pointing at the hay pile. He looked at it, looked at me, then with effort pushed himself up, crawled the 10 feet, collapsed onto the hay. It compressed under his weight but held. Better? I asked. He nodded, made that soft sound again. Gratitude. Relief. I knelt beside him. I need to really look at your leg now. Clean it properly. It's going to hurt. Are you ready? He looked at me, nodded, braced himself. I unwrapped the blood-soaked bandage. The wound was bad. Worse than I'd thought. The trap had crushed muscle, possibly cracked bone. The edges were jagged, already showing signs of infection. I had iodine, hydrogen peroxide, antibiotic ointment, gauze, medical tape, and vodka. A full bottle I kept for I didn't know what. But now I knew. This is going to hurt, I said again. A lot. But I have to clean it, get the dirt out, the bacteria, everything. If I don't, infection will kill you faster than blood loss. I poured hydrogen peroxide directly into the wound. It foamed, bubbled. He tensed, every muscle in his body rigid. But he didn't scream, didn't pull away, just endured. I followed with iodine, then vodka, then antibiotic ointment packed into the deepest parts. Finally, clean gauze. layers of it, wrapped tight, medical tape securing it. It wasn't professional, wasn't proper medical care, but it was the best I could do. When I finished, I sat back, exhausted. My hands were shaking, covered in his blood. I looked like I'd committed murder. He was breathing easier now, the immediate crisis past. Not out of danger, not even close, but stable, for now. You need to eat, I said, and drink, a lot. Replace the blood you lost. What do you eat? I don't even know what you eat. He looked at me, tired, weak, but he lifted his hand, pointed at the supplies I'd brought, then made a gesture, bringing his fingers to his mouth. You can eat human food, I asked. He nodded. I'd brought bread, dried meat, apples, cheese, water, everything I had that was quick and portable. I offered him bread first. He took it gently. His fingers were massive, each one as thick as my wrist, but careful, precise. He tore off a small piece, put it in his mouth, chewed slowly, swallowed. Then he ate more, faster, hungrier. The entire loaf disappeared in minutes. Then the dried meat, 3 apples, half a block of cheese, a gallon of water. I just watched, amazed, terrified, fascinated. I was sitting in my barn with a Bigfoot, a real Bigfoot, feeding him, bandaging his wounds, hiding him from the world. What the hell was I doing? When he finished eating, he laid back on the hay, looked at me. Those eyes, so human, so aware. I'm Elena, I said. Didn't know why I was introducing myself, but it felt right. My name is Elena Martinez. This is my property, my home. He stared at me, processing. Then he lifted his hand, placed it over his chest, made a sound, deep, rumbling. Not a word exactly, but intentional. A name? Is that your name? I asked. What you call yourself? He made the sound again. It was guttural, primal. I couldn't reproduce it exactly with my human vocal cords. I can't say that, I admitted. Can I call you something else? Something I can pronounce? He looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. I thought, Ezra. My grandfather's name was Ezra. He loved these woods, respected them, protected them, like I'm going to protect you. Is that okay? Can I call you Ezra? The creature, Ezra. He looked at me, then nodded slowly, accepting the name, accepting me. Ezra, I said, testing it. Okay, Ezra. You need to rest now, sleep, let your body heal. I'll come back in the morning. Bring more food, more water, check your wound. You're safe here, I promise. Nobody knows about this barn. Nobody comes here. You're hidden, protected. Ezra watched me stand, watched me gather the empty food containers, watched me move toward the door. I stopped, looked back. Thank you for trusting me, for not attacking me, for letting me help. I don't know what you are, where you came from, but you didn't deserve what happened to you. Nobody deserves that. He made a soft sound, that gratitude sound. Then he closed his eyes. I left the barn, locked the door from outside, not to keep him in, but to keep others out. I walked back to the cabin in darkness. The forest was alive with night sounds, owls, coyotes, the wind through trees. I went inside, locked the door, collapsed on my bed, still wearing blood-covered clothes, too exhausted to change. My mind was racing. What had I just done? I'd brought a Bigfoot to my property, hidden him in my barn, committed to protecting him, keeping him secret. If anyone found out, if anyone discovered him, they'd take him, study him, lock him in a cage, maybe kill him, definitely exploit him. I couldn't let that happen, wouldn't let that happen, which meant everything had just changed. My quiet, solitary life was over. From now on, I'd have a secret, the biggest secret imaginable. I fell asleep with blood on my hands and a creature in my barn and no idea what tomorrow would bring. I woke up the next morning convinced it had been a dream, a hallucination. exhaustion and stress creating impossible visions. But my clothes were still covered in blood. My hands were cut and bruised. And when I looked out my window, I could see the barn. The door still closed, locked. He was real. It was real. All of it. I grabbed food from my kitchen. Everything I had, bread, eggs, bacon, fruit, cheese, nuts. I didn't know what he'd eat, what he'd need, so I brought everything. I walked to the barn slowly, heart pounding. What if he was dead? What if he'd died during the night? What if he'd woken up angry, trapped, dangerous? I unlocked the door, opened it slowly. "Ezra," I called softly. "Are you awake?" Movement from the hay pile. He lifted his head, looked at me, those amber brown eyes catching the morning light. He was alive, still hurt, still weak, but alive. Relief flooded through me so intense I almost cried. "I brought food," I said, entering with my bags. "Lots of food. I don't know what you like, so I brought options." He sat up slowly, carefully, watched me unpack. When I laid everything out, he reached for the bacon first. Raw. I'd forgotten to cook it. He ate it anyway. Didn't seem to mind. Then the eggs. Then everything else. All of it. Gone in minutes. "You eat a lot," I said, watching in amazement. "That was supposed to last a few meals." He looked at me, made a sound, almost apologetic. "No, it's okay," I said quickly. "You need it. You're healing, building strength. I'll get more. Don't worry." That became our routine. Every morning, I'd bring food, check his wound, change the bandage. Every evening, more food, more water, more time spent just being there. He healed faster than I expected. By day 3, he was walking around the barn without support. By day 5, the wound had stopped bleeding entirely. By day 7, it was closing, pink flesh visible under the scab. His body was incredible, healing at a rate that would be impossible for a human. Whatever he was, his biology was far more robust than ours. But feeding him was destroying my savings. He ate constantly, enormously. A 650-pound creature needs thousands of calories daily. I was buying groceries every other day, spending hundreds of dollars weekly. I had to be careful. Couldn't buy too much at one store. Couldn't draw attention. So I'd drive to different towns, different stores, buying moderate amounts from each, paying cash when possible. The cashiers started recognizing me anyway. "You again?" one said, smiling. "What are you doing with all this food? Having a party?" "Stocking up for winter," I lied. "I live pretty remote. Can't always get to town." "Must be some winter," she said, scanning the 10th package of bacon. Close calls happened regularly. A neighbor's dog wandered onto my property one afternoon. Started barking at the barn. Wouldn't stop. Just barked and barked and barked. I panicked, ran outside, chased it away, threw rocks near it, not at it, to scare it off. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd have a heart attack. Inside the barn, Ezra had gone completely silent. Not a sound, not a movement, just frozen, waiting to see if danger would come through that door. Another time, a delivery truck came up my driveway. I'd ordered supplies online, forgotten they were coming. I met the driver at the road, a quarter mile from the cabin. "I'll take it here," I said. "Ma'am, I can drive it up," he offered. "It's heavy." "No," I said too quickly, too firmly. No thank you, I've got it. I need the exercise." He looked at me like I was crazy, but he handed over the boxes, drove away. I carried everything back, 3 trips, arms aching, knowing I'd almost let a stranger get too close to my secret. But despite the stress, the fear, the constant worry, something unexpected was happening. Ezra and I were becoming friends. I'd spend hours in the barn, just talking to him. about my day, my life, my grandfather. He couldn't respond with words, but he listened, really listened. He'd make sounds, different ones for different meanings. A low rumble meant he was content. A higher sound meant he was curious. A soft huff meant he found something amusing. We developed a system. I'd ask yes or no questions. He'd nod or shake his head. Simple, but effective. Are you from around here? Nod. Are there others like you? Pause, then nod. Slowly, sadly. Have you seen them recently? Shake head, emphatic. Are you alone? Nod. His eyes looked away. Pain there. He was alone. Had been for a while. Maybe that's why he'd wandered into a trap. Alone, without a family group to watch for danger. He'd been vulnerable. Just like me. We were both alone. Both isolated. Both hiding from a world that had hurt us. Maybe that's why we connected. Two lonely creatures finding companionship in the most unlikely circumstances. I started bringing books, reading to him at night. He couldn't read himself, but he loved listening. His eyes would track across the pages as I read, following along, learning. I read him adventure stories, nature books, National Geographic magazines. He absorbed everything. His intelligence was obvious. He understood complex concepts, cause and effect, time, planning. One night, about 3 weeks in, I was reading about grizzly bears, their habitat, their behavior, hibernation. Do you hibernate? I asked, looking up. He looked at me, thought about it, then made a gesture, sort of, holding his hands apart, then bringing them closer. You sleep more in winter, I interpreted, but not true hibernation. Nod, exactly. That's going to be a problem, I said. Winter's coming. It gets cold here, really cold. This barn isn't insulated. You'll freeze. He looked around the barn, at the walls, the gaps where wind would come through. He understood. I'll figure something out, I promised. We've got a couple months. I'll insulate the walls, get a better heat source, make this place warm. You'll be okay. I won't let you freeze. He looked at me, this tiny human promising to protect this massive creature from the elements. Then he did something that surprised me. He reached out, slowly, carefully, placed one massive hand on my shoulder, gentle, so gentle despite his strength. He was saying thank you. He was saying he trusted me. He was saying we were in this together. I placed my hand on his. My entire hand couldn't cover even one of his fingers. The size difference was absurd, but the connection was real. We're going to be okay, I said. Both of us. I don't know how, but we will. That was October 2nd through November 1991, the first month of the secret that would define the next 33 years of my life. November came fast. With it, the first frost, then snow. The temperature dropped into the 20s, then the teens. My little propane heater in the barn wasn't going to cut it. Ezra was from these mountains. He'd survived winters before, but he'd had the forest. The ability to move, to find shelter, to build nests from branches and leaves like the stories said Bigfoots did. Now he had a barn, 4 walls, a roof, but no insulation. The wind came through gaps in the boards. The floor was dirt. Cold radiated up from the ground. I couldn't let him freeze. I drove to the hardware store in town, bought insulation, lots of it, wood, nails, a bigger propane heater, ventilation pipes. The clerk looked at my order. Big project? Winterizing the barn, I said, which was true, just not complete truth. Need help installing? He asked. My brother does contract work. No, I said quickly. I've got it. Thanks, though. I couldn't have anyone on the property. Couldn't risk anyone seeing Ezra, hearing him, finding evidence of him. I did all the work myself, spent 2 weeks installing insulation between the wall studs, sealing gaps, building an insulated second door to create an airlock, setting up the new heater properly, safely. Ezra watched me work during the day. At night, when it was safe, he helped, passing me materials, holding boards in place while I nailed them. His strength was incredible. Things that took me 10 minutes of struggling, he could do in seconds. We worked well together, didn't need many words. He understood what I was trying to do, anticipated what I'd need next. "You're a good assistant," I told him one night as he held up a sheet of plywood while I secured it. He made that amused sound, almost like a laugh. By mid-November, the barn was transformed. Warm, secure, weather-tight. I taught Ezra how to use the heater, how to adjust the temperature, how to turn it off if something seemed wrong. He learned fast, scary fast. After one demonstration he understood. He was careful too, respectful of fire, of danger. The first real snow came on November 18th, 6 inches overnight. I came to the barn that morning and found Ezra standing at the wall, looking through a crack between boards, watching the snow fall. His face, God, his face. He looked so sad, so longing, like a prisoner watching freedom through bars. "You want to go out there?" I said. It wasn't a question. He nodded, slowly. "I'm sorry," I said. "It's not safe, not during the day. If anyone saw tracks, footprints your size, they'd come investigating. It's too risky." He understood, nodded again, but the sadness remained. That's when I realized fully what I'd done. I'd saved his life, but I'd also trapped him. He'd traded death in a forest for life in a cage, a comfortable cage, a warm cage, but still a cage. "At night," I said suddenly, "deep winter nights when nobody's around, when the storms are bad and nobody would be out, maybe then, maybe you can go out just for a little while." He looked at me, hope in his eyes. "But we have to be so careful," I warned. "If anyone sees you, if anyone suspects, they'll hunt you, capture you, study you. Your life as you know it would be over." He placed his hand over his heart, then pointed at me, then made a gesture of locking his lips. "I understand. I'll be careful. I promise." Christmas approached, the loneliest time to be isolated. I decorated my cabin half-heartedly, strung some lights, put up a small tree, but my heart wasn't in it. Instead, I brought decorations to the barn. Lights, tinsel, ornaments. Ezra was fascinated. He'd never seen anything like it. He touched the lights gently, watched them blink, held ornaments up to catch the light. I explained Christmas to him, the traditions, the meaning, the family gatherings. I didn't mention that I had no family to gather with, that I was as alone as he was. On Christmas Eve, I brought him a feast. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, pie, everything I could carry. We ate together, me on a hay bale, him on his pile of blankets, not talking, just being together. Two lonely creatures finding comfort in companionship. "Merry Christmas, Ezra," I said, raising my cup of water in a toast. He looked at me, didn't understand the words, but understood the sentiment. He picked up his water bucket. We clinked them together, our version of a toast. But the isolation was getting to me. People in town noticed I'd become scarce. "Haven't seen you around much, Elena," the diner owner said one day. "Everything okay?" "Just busy," I lied. "Lots of work on the property. If you need help?" "I don't," I said too quickly, "but thanks." I was declining invitations, missing community events, becoming even more isolated than before. And it was by choice, but not really by choice, because I had Ezra. and protecting him meant sacrificing everything else. The financial strain was crushing me. Between food for Ezra and insulation materials and heating costs, I'd burned through my savings. By mid-December, I had $347 left. I needed a job, a real job, not odd work, something steady. The sawmill was hiring. Night shift. Perfect. I could work nights, sleep a few hours, tend to Ezra during the day, sleep a few more hours, then work again. I applied, got hired immediately. They were desperate for workers. The work was brutal, physical, dangerous, operating machinery, hauling lumber, 10-hour shifts, but it paid decent $12 an hour, plus overtime. I started in January. It nearly killed me. I was getting maybe 4 hours of sleep daily. Broken up, never deep. My body was exhausted. My mind foggy. I made mistakes. At work, at home. Ezra noticed. Of course he noticed. He'd watch me stumble into the barn, barely able to stand. He'd gesture at me to rest, to sleep there in the barn, where it was warm. Sometimes I did, collapsing on hay bales, waking hours later to find him sitting nearby, watching over me, protecting me while I was vulnerable. He started rationing his food. I'd bring meals and notice he wasn't finishing them, leaving portions, saving them. "Why aren't you eating?" I asked. He pointed at the food, then at money I'd left on a shelf, then at me working. He understood. He understood that food cost money. That money meant I had to work. That working was killing me. So he was trying to eat less, to ease my burden. I almost cried. "No, Ezra, no, you eat everything I bring you. Don't you dare go hungry because of money. I'll figure it out. But you have to eat. You have to stay healthy. Promise me." He looked at me for a long time, then nodded, but reluctantly. That winter was the hardest of my life. Harder than losing my parents. Harder than losing my grandfather. Because I was choosing to make it hard. I could have walked away at any point, could have called the authorities, handed Ezra over, gotten my life back. But I didn't, couldn't. He trusted me, depended on me, and more than that, I needed him too. One night in mid-January, a massive storm hit. Power went out. The cabin was freezing. The barn, with its insulation and propane heater, was actually warmer. I grabbed blankets and supplies and moved to the barn, told myself it was practical, safer, warmer. But really, I just didn't want to be alone. Didn't want to sit in a dark, cold cabin by myself while a storm raged outside. Ezra and I sat together that night, the heater glowing orange, the storm howling against the walls. Safe, warm, together. I talked. Told him things I'd never told anyone about my parents' death. The drunk driver who hit them. The hospital. Watching them die. Being 16 and suddenly alone. About my grandfather taking me in. Teaching me about the forest. About survival. About being strong. Then him dying. Cancer. Fast and brutal. Me 18 and alone again. About feeling like everyone I loved disappeared. About deciding it was safer to be alone, to not let anyone close, because losing them hurt too much. Ezra listened, really listened. When I finished, he did something that broke me. He told me his story, through gestures, slow, patient, making sure I understood. He showed me his family, multiple figures, large group, safe together, then separation. Something happened. He gestured violence, fighting, danger, his family scattered, running, him separated, lost. Years alone, many gestures showing time passing, long time, very long time, looking for them, never finding them, accepting he was alone, then the trap, the pain, death approaching, acceptance that this was the end, then me, he pointed at me, showed helping, saving, bringing to safety. He placed his hand over his heart, then extended it to me. You saved me. You gave me family again. You gave me purpose. I understood. You saved me too, I whispered. Before you, I was just existing, surviving but not living, not really. You gave me a reason to wake up, a reason to try, a reason to care. We sat in silence after that. The storm outside, warmth inside, two creatures who'd been alone finding family in the most impossible circumstances. That's when I knew. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't just until he healed. This was permanent. Ezra was my responsibility, my family, for however long we both lived, and I was okay with that. More than okay, grateful. The years blurred together, one season into the next. Winter, spring, summer, fall, again, again, again. 1992 became 1993. 1993 became 1994. Suddenly it was 2000, then 2010, then 2020. 33 years. 33 years of keeping the biggest secret on earth. Every single day I woke up and chose to continue, chose to feed him, chose to protect him, chose to sacrifice my own life to preserve his. There were so many close calls over the years, so many moments where discovery seemed inevitable. In 1993, a survey team showed up on my property. County was checking land boundaries. They wanted to walk the entire perimeter, which meant they'd walk right past the barn. I met them at the road, told them I'd walk it with them, steered them away from the barn area, made excuses. That section's too overgrown, easier to go around. Trust me, I know this land. They shrugged, followed my lead. Never knew they'd been within 200 yards of the most significant zoological discovery in human history. In 1995, a hiker got lost, wandered onto my property, disoriented, dehydrated. I found him sitting on a log maybe a quarter mile from the barn. Thank God, he said when he saw me. I've been lost for hours. Do you have water? A phone? I gave him water, gave him directions back to the main trail, walked with him halfway there to make sure he found it, my heart pounding the entire time. Knowing Ezra was close, knowing if this man had wandered just a little further north, he'd have heard sounds, seen tracks, discovered everything. In 1998, a forest fire came within a mile of my property. Evacuation orders were mandatory. Police came door to door. Ma'am, you need to leave now, the officer said. Fire's spreading fast. It's not safe. I'm staying, I said. That's not advisable. It's dangerous. I know my property. I know how to defend it. I'm staying. He couldn't legally force me. So he left, shaking his head. Marking me down as one of those stubborn idiots who die in fires, I stayed with Ezra, both of us ready to die together if the fire came. The smoke was so thick we could barely breathe. Ash fell like snow. The sky turned orange. We sat in the barn, door closed, praying. The wind shifted, the fire turned, went around us. We survived. But it was close, so close. In 2001, the world changed on September 11th. I watched it on the small TV I'd set up in the barn. Planes hitting towers, buildings falling, thousands dying. Ezra didn't understand what he was watching, didn't understand cities or buildings or terrorism. But he understood my fear, my shock, my grief. He sat beside me while I cried, his massive hand on my shoulder, offering comfort the only way he could. Presence, support, family. In 2003, federal agents came to the area, asking questions, going door to door. Have you seen anything unusual? Strange tracks? Large animals? Anything that doesn't fit? They showed me photos, footprint casts, blurry images. None of them Ezra, but close enough. No, I said, looking the agent directly in the eyes. Just normal wildlife bears, deer, elk, nothing strange. She studied me, trying to detect lies. You spend a lot of time in these woods. You'd notice if something unusual was out there. I would, I agreed, and there isn't. She left, but Ezra and I didn't speak for days after, both of us understanding how close they were, how actively they were searching, how much danger we were in. The 2008 financial crisis cost me my job at the sawmill. They laid off half the workers, including me. I'd been there 17 years. Didn't matter. I scrambled for work, took 3 part-time jobs, gas station, grocery store, cleaning houses, working 80 hours a week to make what I'd made in 40 before Ezra tried to help by eating less again. I refused, took a 4th job, night janitorial work. 4 hours of sleep became 3, then 2. My body was breaking down. I was 35 years old and felt 60, but I didn't stop, couldn't stop. Ezra needed me. Technology kept advancing, making everything harder. Trail cameras appeared in the 2000s, hunters putting them on trees to monitor deer. I'd walk my property regularly, find them, destroy them. Couldn't risk Ezra being captured on film. Drones became common in the 2000s. Hobbyists flying them everywhere. I'd hear the buzzing, see them overhead. My heart would stop. What if they flew over the barn? What if they recorded him through a gap in the roof? I planted more trees, strategic placement, creating canopy coverage, blocking aerial views. My property became denser, darker, more hidden. Satellite imagery improved. Google Earth could see individual cars. I checked it constantly, looking at my property from above, making sure nothing suspicious was visible. The barn looked normal, ordinary, thank God. Social media exploded. With it, Bigfoot hunters, thousands of them, posting on forums, organizing searches coming to the Pacific Northwest, setting up camps, looking for evidence. I watch them on TV sometimes, shows like Finding Bigfoot, Monster Quest documentaries about the legend, experts discussing where Sasquatch might live, what they might eat, how they might behave. I'd sit there with Ezra, both of us watching people theorize about his existence while he sat right there eating beef jerky and watching cartoons. If they only knew, I'd say. If they only knew you're 20 miles from their base camp. He'd make that amused sound. Found it funny in a dark way. My isolation deepened over the years. I couldn't date. How do you explain to someone why you can never stay over at their place? Why they can never visit yours? Why you disappear for hours every day? I couldn't make close friends. Couldn't risk someone getting curious, wanting to visit, seeing something, hearing something, discovering everything. The town started seeing me as that weird hermit woman, crazy Elena who lives alone in the woods, no family, no friends, just works constantly and keeps to herself. They weren't wrong. That's exactly what I was, what I'd had to become. But I wasn't alone. I had Ezra. He was my family, my friend, my responsibility, my purpose. We celebrated my 30th birthday together in the barn, just us. Cupcake from the grocery store, single candle, him watching me blow it out making a wish, him making a soft questioning sound. What did you wish for? That you stay healthy, I said, that we stay safe, that this continues. He placed his hand over his heart, then pointed at me. Same wish. My 35th birthday, my 40th. Each one marked the same way. Simple, quiet. Together Ezra aged too. Slower than me, but visibly. Gray appeared in his hair, around his face first, then his shoulders. His hands. He moved a little slower, slept a little more, got stiff in cold weather. We were growing old together. Two creatures who should never have met, should never have bonded, growing old in secret, hidden from a world that would never understand. In 2015, I had an accident at work, lifting heavy boxes. Something in my back gave out. I collapsed. Couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Pain like lightning. Hospital, x-rays, fractured vertebra. Doctor said I was lucky. Could have been paralyzed. Gave me pain meds. Told me to rest for 6 weeks. I went home after 2 days. Went to the barn despite the pain. Ezra saw me immediately. Saw how I moved. How I winced. He made sounds of concern. Gestures asking what happened. I explained. Showed him the brace I had to wear. He understood. And I saw something in his eyes. Fear. He was afraid for me. Afraid of what would happen to him if I died. If I couldn't care for him anymore. He'd be trapped. Helpless. Alone. That's when I started writing everything down. Detailed journals. How to care for him. What he eats. How much. What temperature he likes. What sounds mean what. Everything. I wrote instructions. If something happens to me, if someone finds these journals, this is how you keep him alive. This is how you help him. I didn't know who would find them. Didn't know if anyone would follow the instructions. But I had to try. Had to give him a chance even if I was gone. In 2017, Ezra got sick. Really sick. Fever. Weakness. Couldn't stand. Barely ate. His breathing was labored. Wet. Pneumonia, maybe. Or worse, I couldn't take him to a vet. Couldn't call for help. I was on my own. I treated him with everything I had. Animal antibiotics I'd saved for emergencies. Human cold medicine, fever reducers, fluids. I forced water down his throat, covered him in every blanket I owned. For 3 days I thought I'd lose him. Thought I'd watch him die. Thought this was the end. I sat with him constantly, talking to him, telling him to fight, to hold on, that I needed him, that he couldn't leave me. On the 4th day, his fever broke. He opened his eyes, looked at me, made a weak sound. He was going to make it. I cried, collapsed beside him, exhausted, relieved, terrified of how close we'd come. 2020 brought COVID-19. The world shut down, quarantine, lockdown, social distancing. Everyone suddenly isolated, alone. I remember thinking, welcome to my last 29 years. This is what I've been living. I lost all my jobs, everywhere closed, no income. But stimulus checks came, government money keeping me afloat. Ironic. The same government hunting for Bigfoot was inadvertently paying to keep one hidden. Ezra didn't understand why the world stopped, why everything changed. I explained disease, pandemic, fear, death, people protecting each other by staying apart. He understood that. He'd been in lockdown for 3 decades, not by choice, but he understood what it meant to be separated from the world for safety. In 2023, I turned 50, half a century, more than half my life spent protecting Ezra. I looked at myself in the mirror that morning, gray hair, lined face, weathered skin. I looked 60, maybe 70. Hard living will do that. I thought about the path not taken, if I'd left him in that clearing, if I'd called authorities, if I'd handed him over and walked away. What would my life have been? Marriage, maybe. Kids. Normal job. Normal friends. Normal existence. Would I have been happier? I went to the barn that evening. Ezra looked up when I entered. He had something in his hands. Crude card made from bark, held together with plant fibers. On it, a simple drawing. 2 stick figures side by side. Him and me. He held it out, offering it. Gift. You remembered my birthday, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. He nodded, proud of himself. He'd been planning this, working on it in secret, creating something to show he cared. I took the card, held it like it was made of gold, most precious thing I'd ever received. Thank you, I said. Thank you, Ezra, for everything, for being my family, for giving me purpose, for making this life mean something. He placed his hand on my shoulder, gentle. We stood like that for a long time, two old friends, two creatures who'd spent 32 years together, protecting each other, needing each other. Neither of us wanted to say it, neither wanted to acknowledge it, but we both knew time was running out. We were both getting old. One of us would die first. One of us would be alone again. I prayed it wouldn't be him, prayed I wouldn't leave him trapped, helpless, dependent on someone who might not come, might not care. But I couldn't control that, couldn't control when my time would come. All I could do was keep going, keep protecting him, keep choosing him, every single day, for however much time we had left. March 12th, 2024, 7:23 in the morning. I was bringing Ezra his breakfast, oatmeal, berries, toast, water, our routine, 33 years of routine. Then I heard it. Helicopters, not distant, close, multiple, flying low, search pattern. I looked up, through the trees, 3 of them, maybe 4 black, unmarked, military or federal. My blood went cold. I ran, dropped the food, sprinted to the barn, burst through the door. Ezra was already standing. He'd heard them before I did. His hearing was far better than mine. He looked at me. I looked at him. We both knew, after 33 years, after 12,000 days, after more than 400 months of perfect secrecy, they'd found us. They're here, I said. Unnecessary. He knew. He didn't move, didn't panic. Just stood there, waiting. After all these years of hiding, running was pointless. This was his home, our home. Where would he even go? I heard vehicles, multiple engines, coming up my driveway. The driveway nobody used except me. The driveway that hadn't seen visitors in years. I looked out through a crack in the barn wall. Black SUVs, 5 of them, unmarked but official. Federal plates. They parked, doors opened. Men and women in tactical gear, armed, serious, moving with military precision, surrounding the property, taking positions. One woman, older, maybe mid-40s, professional suit, badge visible. She walked toward my cabin, confident, in charge. I have to go talk to them, I said to Ezra. I have to try to, I don't know, stall, explain, something. Ezra placed his hand on my shoulder, gentle. He wasn't blaming me, wasn't angry, just accepting. This was always going to happen eventually. We both knew it. We just hoped for more time. I left the barn, locked it from outside, pointless gesture. They'd get in if they wanted, but I did it anyway. The woman was at my cabin door, raised her hand to knock, saw me approaching. "Ms. Martinez," she called. "That's me," I said, trying to sound calm normal, like I wasn't hiding the most significant zoological discovery in human history 100 feet away. "I'm Agent Sarah Thornton, FBI Wildlife Crimes Division." She showed credentials, real, official. "We have a warrant to search your property." She handed me papers. Legal, proper, judge's signature. Everything correct. "Search for what?" I asked, playing dumb, buying seconds. "I think you know, Ms. Martinez." Her eyes were kind but firm. "We've been investigating reports in this area for months. Thermal signatures, sound recordings, eyewitness accounts. Everything points here, to your property." My heart sank. They didn't just suspect, they knew, or knew enough. "I live alone," I said. "It's just me. Whatever people think they saw, they're wrong." Ms. Martinez, we can do this easy or hard. I prefer easy, but either way, we're searching the property, starting with that barn. She gestured. 4 agents moved toward it. Weapons ready, tactical approach, like they were breaching a hostile location. Wait, I said. Wait, please just let me open it. Let me go first. Don't just charge in there. Thornton studied me. Why? What's in there that requires caution? Someone who's scared, I said. Someone who's never hurt anyone. Someone who deserves to be treated with respect, not violence. Her expression changed. Surprise. Understanding. It's in there, right now, in your barn. I nodded. No point lying anymore. Yes, and he's terrified. You show up with guns and aggression. He might defend himself, might hurt someone trying to protect himself. But if you're calm, if you're respectful, he won't. I promise you. Thornton raised her hand. Agents stopped. Stand down. Lower weapons. Non-threatening posture. They complied. Professional. Disciplined. Show me, Thornton said. We walked to the barn. Me, Thornton, 4 agents, armed but weapons lowered. More agents forming perimeter. Helicopters hovering. This was it. The end of everything. My hands shook as I pulled out my keys. The padlock felt heavy. Significant. Last barrier between Ezra and the world. He's intelligent, I said before opening. He understands English. He communicates. He's gentle. He's been living here peacefully for 33 years. He's not a monster, not a specimen. He's family. Thornton nodded. Understood. We'll proceed carefully. I unlocked the padlock. It opened with a click that sounded like a gunshot. I pulled the door open. Daylight flooded the barn. Multiple flashlights clicked on. Beams cutting through the interior, illuminating everything. The hay, the blankets, the food storage, the living space, and Ezra. Standing in the back corner, 8 feet tall, massive, powerful, real, undeniably, impossibly real. Every agent froze. Weapons lowered further. Some dropped entirely, hanging by straps. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Pure shock. Thornton stepped forward, slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. Her professional mask slipped, just for a moment. Her face showed what everyone was feeling. Wonder, disbelief, awe. Holy shit, she whispered. It's real. A living Sasquatch is real. Ezra backed up, as far as he could go, pressed against the wall, trapped, scared. Looking at me, asking what to do, I stepped between them, protective. Don't hurt him, please. I'm begging you. He's not dangerous. He's never hurt anyone. He's gentle. He's kind. Please. Thornton held up both hands. Ms. Martinez, we're not going to hurt him. Lower your weapon, she said to an agent who still had his rifle raised. I said lower it, now. He did, reluctantly. How long? Thornton asked me, not taking her eyes off Ezra. How long has he been here? 33 years, I said, voice breaking. I found him in October 1991, caught in a bear trap, dying. I brought him here, saved his life, kept him safe, protected him from this, from being discovered, from being taken, from being turned into some government experiment or circus attraction. 33 years, Thornton repeated. You've hidden a living Sasquatch for 33 years. I've protected him, I corrected, from a world that would never see him as anything but a specimen, a curiosity, a thing to study. More vehicles arriving. I could hear them. More agents, scientists probably, equipment. This was becoming a massive operation. Radio chatter, someone saying, confirm, subject located. Repeat, subject located and contained. Contained. Like he was a threat. Like he was dangerous. What are you going to do? I asked, desperate. You can't put him in a cage. You can't lock him up. He's been free. Well, as free as he could be here, but he's had space, dignity, life. You can't take that away. Ms. Martinez, Thornton said carefully, this is an unprecedented situation. There are protocols, procedures. This creature is potentially an endangered species, maybe the only one left. He needs proper care, study protection. He has that here, I shouted. I've given him that for 33 years. He doesn't need your protocols. He needs to be left alone. Ezra made sounds distressed, vocalizations I recognized, fear, confusion, asking me what's happening, what's going to happen to him. I turned to him. It's okay, I said, lying. It wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. I won't let them hurt you, I promise. But I had no power to keep that promise. None. I was one woman. They were federal agents, with authority, resources, legal backing. More people arriving. Scientists with equipment. Someone with what looked like a tranquilizer gun. No, I shouted. No tranquilizers. You're not drugging him. You're not treating him like some animal that needs to be sedated. Ms. Martinez, calm down, Thornton said. I won't calm down. This is wrong. You're wrong. He's not an animal. He's intelligent. He's aware. He understands what's happening. He knows you're here to take him away, to lock him up, to ruin everything. I was losing it. 33 years of stress and fear and sacrifice coming out all at once. Screaming at federal agents, making everything worse. But I couldn't stop. Ezra moved, came to me, placed his massive hand on my shoulder. His touch calmed me. Always did. I looked up at him, tears streaming down my face. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. I tried to keep you safe. I tried so hard. He made a soft sound comforting me, telling me it was okay. He understood. I'd done everything I could. By evening, the property was transformed. Command center set up, satellite trucks somehow already there. News media, someone had leaked it. Helicopters with station logos. The story was out. World-changing news spreading in real time. Bigfoot discovered in Oregon. Federal agents confirm Sasquatch exists. Woman hid creature for 33 years. Ezra hadn't moved from the corner. Wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink, just watched, processing, understanding his life was over. I stayed with him, refused to leave, sat beside him, held his hand. If they were taking him, they were taking me too. Thornton approached around 8 p.m., cautious, respectful. Ms. Martinez, we need to talk privately. No, I said. Anything you say to me, you say in front of him. He deserves to hear. Thornton looked at Ezra, really looked, studying him, his intelligence, his awareness, his emotional state. Then she did something unexpected. She sat down, on the barn floor, not standing over us, not maintaining authority, just sitting. Equal level, tell me everything, she said. From the beginning, I need to understand how this happened, why you did it, what he is, what he needs, everything. I looked at Ezra, he looked at me. After 33 years of telling no one, I was about to tell everything. Okay, I said. Okay, it started October 15th, 1991. I talked for 12 hours straight, told Thornton everything, every detail, every moment, every choice, the entire 33 years. I told her about finding him in the trap, the decision to save him, the agonizing journey back, those first terrifying days, the close calls, the sacrifices, the years of isolation, the bond we formed. I showed her my journals, 33 years of daily entries, what he ate, what he did, how he communicated, what he needed, his personality, his intelligence, his emotions, everything. She read them, really read them, page after page, year after year, watching a story unfold, a relationship, a family. Other agents gathered at the doorway, listening, at first skeptical, then quiet, then moved. This wasn't what they expected. They expected a cryptid, a monster, an animal, something to capture and catalog. Instead, they found a person. Different, yes, but a person with intelligence, emotions, relationships, a life, and they found a woman who'd given up everything to protect that life. Why? Thornton asked around 3 a.m. Why sacrifice so much? Your life, your future, everything, for him. I looked at Ezra. He was watching me tell our story, understanding some, not all, but knowing this was important. Because nobody else would, I said. Because if I hadn't, he'd be dead. Or worse, and because he became my family, the only family I had. You don't abandon family. You could have called authorities years ago, she said. Turned him over to people with resources, facilities. You didn't have to carry this burden alone. It wasn't a burden, I said firmly. It was a privilege. Yes, it was hard. Yes, I sacrificed. But I wouldn't change it. Not one day, not one decision. He trusted me. I couldn't betray that trust. Thornton set down the journal she was reading. Ms. Martinez, what you've done here is extraordinary. The scientific value alone is incalculable. 33 years of documented observation of a species we didn't even know existed. This changes everything we thought we knew. I don't care about scientific value, I said. I care about him. What happens to him now? That's all I care about. Thornton nodded. I understand, but this is bigger than what you or I want. This is national, international. The world knows. Right now, there are protests forming groups demanding access, scientists wanting to study him, zoos offering facilities, governments requesting information. Everyone wants a piece of this. My heart sank. This was what I'd feared for 33 years, the feeding frenzy, the exploitation. Ezra reduced to a specimen, a curiosity, a thing. You can't let that happen, I said. Please, you seem like a decent person. Don't let them turn him into some circus attraction, some lab rat. He deserves better. I know he does, Thornton said quietly, but I'm not sure I can stop it. This is way above my pay grade now. Dawn came, light filtering through the barn walls. We'd talked all night. I was exhausted, hoarse, emotionally drained. Thornton made calls, lots of them, speaking to superiors, directors, policymakers, her expression growing more concerned with each conversation. More officials arrived, higher ranking, men and women in expensive suits, government officials, agency heads, people who made decisions. They held a conference outside the barn I watched through cracks in the walls. Saw them arguing, gesturing, some pointing at the barn, others shaking their heads. Decisions being made about Ezra's fate without his input, without mine. What do you think they're saying? I asked Ezra. He made a low sound. Didn't know, didn't matter. Whatever they decided, we had no power to change it. Around 9 a.m., Thornton returned. Her face was unreadable. Professional mask back in place. Ms. Martinez, I've spent the night advocating for you, for him, explaining the situation, the relationship, why this is unique, why standard protocols don't apply. And my voice barely worked. And there's good news and bad news. My stomach dropped. Tell me. She sat down again, looked at both of us. The good news is that after reviewing your documentation, listening to your testimony, and observing his behavior, the determination has been made that he's not just a biological specimen. He's classified as a sentient being with rights. Relief flooded through me. That's huge. The bad news, she interrupted, is that those rights don't include continuing to live here, off the books, undocumented, hidden. The world knows he exists now. We can't put that genie back in the bottle. So what happens? I asked. dreading the answer. He's being transferred to a secure facility, custom built, designed for his needs, with space, enrichment, proper care, round-the-clock monitoring. A cage, I said bitterly. You're putting him in a cage. A habitat, Thornton corrected. Large, natural, as close to his original environment as we can create. But yes, contained, for his safety and the public's. No, I said, standing. No, you can't. He's been free here. This is his home. You can't just take him away. Ms. Martinez, he hasn't been free. He's been hidden in a barn for 33 years. That's not freedom. That's just a different kind of captivity. The words hit me like a punch, because she was right. I'd been telling myself I was protecting him, giving him freedom. But really, I'd trapped him in a barn on my property, never able to leave, never able to live normally, never able to be with his own kind. I'd saved his life, but I'd also taken it. What about me? I asked, voice small, broken. You're not being charged, Thornton said. Given the circumstances, the duration, the care you provided, and your cooperation now, no criminal charges will be filed. That's not what I mean. I mean, can I go with him? Can I stay with him? He knows me. Trust me. Taking him away from everything he knows, everyone he knows, it'll traumatize him. Thornton looked at me for a long moment. That would be highly irregular. This entire situation is highly irregular, I said. Please, I'm not asking for much. Just let me help him transition. Let me be there until he's settled, until he understands what's happening. Please. She pulled out her phone, made another call, stepped outside. I heard her voice, arguing, insisting, fighting for something. She came back. Okay, here's what I can do. You can accompany him to the facility stay for the transition period. 2 weeks, help him acclimate. After that, you'll have to leave, but you'll be granted visiting rights. Once a month, supervised, if he continues to show positive response to your presence. It wasn't what I wanted, wasn't close, but it was something better than nothing. And after the 2 weeks, I asked, what happens to me? You go home, resume your life, with the understanding that everything you've learned, everything you know, remains classified. You don't write books, don't do interviews, don't capitalize on this. You protected his privacy for 33 years. We're asking you to continue protecting it. I looked at Ezra. He was watching me, waiting, trusting me to make the right choice, like he'd trusted me for 33 years. Okay, I said. Okay, I'll do it. But I have conditions. Thornton raised an eyebrow. You're not really in a position to negotiate. Maybe not, but I'm going to try. First condition, I want input on his care, diet, schedule, enrichment. I know what he needs better than anyone. Second, I want those monthly visits guaranteed, in writing, not just if he responds well, always. Third, I want updates, weekly, how he's doing, how he's adapting. Fourth, if at any point he's distressed, truly distressed, I want to be called immediately. Thornton considered. I can't promise all of that, but I'll advocate for it. You've earned that much. When? I asked. When do we leave? Transport is being prepared now. You'll leave this afternoon, start packing what he'll need. Familiar items, comfort objects, anything that will help him feel safe. I packed everything I could think of that would comfort him. His favorite blankets, the ones I'd given him in 1992 that were now threadbare and worn, but still the crude birthday card he'd made me. Photos I'd taken over the years. Not for anyone else, just for him. So he'd have memories of our time together. I tried to explain what was happening. We're leaving the barn, going somewhere new, somewhere bigger, with more space, trees, real forest. You'll like it, I promise. He watched me pack, understanding enough. Something big was happening, something that would change everything again. The transport vehicle arrived around 2 p.m. It wasn't a cage on wheels, more like a large RV. Custom built, reinforced, but with windows padding, temperature control. Someone had actually thought about comfort. "Time to go," I said to Ezra, voice breaking. He stood, slowly. This was it. The moment he'd been dreading, leaving the only home he'd known for 33 years. We walked to the barn door together. He ducked through, then stopped, just stopped dead, because for the first time in 33 years he was outside in full daylight. The sun hit his face, his fur, making him glow. The sky stretched above, blue, endless, open. The forest surrounded us, real trees, living forest, not seen through cracks in walls, but fully experienced. He stood there, not moving, just experiencing, breathing fresh air, feeling sun, seeing sky. I started crying because I'd done this to him, kept him in darkness, in confinement, for 33 years, telling myself it was protection, but really it was prison. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry." He looked down at me, placed his hand on my head, gentle. He wasn't angry, wasn't blaming me. He understood I'd done my best, but we both knew this should have happened decades ago. Media was everywhere, kept back by security perimeter. But there, cameras, reporters, broadcasting live. The whole world watching this moment. Ezra saw them, saw all the people, the vehicles, the chaos. He moved closer to me. I was the only familiar thing in this insane situation. "Come on," I said, leading him to the transport. "Let's get you out of here." The handlers were gentle, respectful, trained in how to work with great apes. Similar protocols applied here. No sudden movements, no aggression, just calm, patient guidance. Ezra climbed into the transport. I followed. The interior was spacious, padded walls, temperature controlled, windows with shades he could close if he wanted. I sat with him as the doors closed, as the vehicle started moving, as we pulled away from the property that had been our world for 33 years. Ezra looked out the window, watching the barn get smaller, disappear. Then the cabin, then the forest, everything familiar vanishing behind us. He made a sound, low, sad, goodbye. The drive took 6 hours, deep into national forest, remote, secure, far from civilization. I talked to him the whole time. "This place is good. They've been building it for years, not just for you, for any of your kind that might be found. Protected habitat, safe natural. You'll have space, trees, water, real forest to explore. It's better than the barn. So much better." He listened, didn't respond much, just processed, tried to understand what his life was becoming. We arrived at sunset. The facility was massive but not industrial, blended into the forest, designed to be minimally invasive, large habitat visible, enclosed but naturalistic, multiple acres, trees, streams, caves, hills, everything a Sasquatch might need. A man was waiting, older, distinguished, kind face. "Ms. Martinez, I'm Dr. James Morrison, director of this facility, and Ezra. Welcome. We've been preparing for you." He spoke directly to Ezra, not about him. To him, respectful. Acknowledging his intelligence, I liked him immediately. "Let me show you your new home," he said. We walked, Ezra between us, into the habitat. Gates closing behind, security necessary but subtle, not oppressive. The space was incredible. Real forest, not maintained garden, wild, natural. 5 acres maybe, more, with hills and valleys, running water, vegetation, everything. Ezra stopped, overwhelmed. This was more space than he'd had since 1991. More nature, more life. He took a step, then another, into the trees, touched bark, real tree, Wild tree, not lumber in a barn. Living forest. He bent down, picked up leaves, smelled them, crushed them in his hand, released the scent. Dr. Morrison watched, taking notes, but quiet, letting Ezra explore. "We've built a shelter," he said to me. "If he wants it. Cave-like, natural, but he can also build his own. Nest, whatever he prefers. This is his space, his territory. We observe, we monitor, but we don't interfere unless necessary." "And me?" I asked. "You have quarters nearby, walking distance. You can be here as much as he needs you, as much as you need. For the next 2 weeks." Evening came. Ezra found the shelter they'd built, explored it, approved of it apparently, made it his. I sat with him, like we'd done thousands of times before, but different now. New place, new life. "This is good," I said. "This is right. You should have had this all along. I'm sorry I couldn't give it to you." He made a sound. Not agreement, not disagreement, just acknowledgement. "In 2 weeks I have to go home," I continued. "Back to the cabin, back to my life. But I'll visit, once a month." They promised. "I'll come see you. Make sure you're okay. Make sure they're treating you right." He looked at me, those intelligent eyes, understanding, sad, but accepting. We'd had 33 years, more time than we should have had, more connection than seemed possible, but nothing lasts forever. Change comes, whether we want it or not. "Thank you," I whispered, "for trusting me, for being my family when I had none, for giving my life purpose. Thank you, Ezra." He placed his massive hand over mine, held it gently. "One last time. Thank you too." The first day, Ezra barely left the shelter, too overwhelmed, too much change too fast. I sat outside, just present, letting him know I was there. By day 2, he ventured out, explored cautiously, testing boundaries, learning his new territory. Day 3, he found the stream, real flowing water, not from a bucket. He drank, stood in it, let it flow over his feet. I saw memories in his eyes. He'd done this before, long ago, before the trap before me. The scientists watched everything, taking notes, recording, analyzing. It made him uncomfortable. All those eyes, all that attention. "Give him space," I told Dr. Morrison. "He's not a zoo animal. He's not entertainment. Back off." To his credit, he did. Reduced observation teams, more remote monitoring, less direct staring. By day 5, Ezra was climbing trees, moving through the canopy. His body remembered even if his mind had forgotten, instinct returning, wild behavior emerging. He built a nest, wove branches and leaves like his ancestors must have taught him. Or maybe it was just programmed, genetic memory. Either way, he was proud of it. Showed it to me like a kid showing a school project. "It's beautiful," I said. "You did good." He made that please sound, happy with himself. Day 7, he started foraging, finding edible plants, roots, berries, things he remembered from before. He still preferred the cooked meals I brought, old habits. But he was relearning how to feed himself. Other animals appeared, deer, rabbits, birds. The habitat was alive. Ezra watched them. Day 9 brought rain, real rain, not heard through a roof, experienced directly. Ezra stood in it, let it soak his fur, wash away 33 years of confinement. His face showed pure joy, childlike wonder. I watched from shelter, crying again. He deserved this. Deserved to feel rain, feel sun, feel alive. By day 10, I was visiting less. Not because I didn't want to, because he didn't need me as much. He was adjusting, adapting, becoming who he was supposed to be. I sat and watched him from distance, Seeing him navigate his habitat with growing confidence, it was good, it was right, but it hurt. I was losing him, had to lose him, so he could find himself. Day 11, I visited during his nap time. He was sleeping deeply, comfortably, secure enough to be vulnerable. That was growth, huge growth. I sat anyway, just watching him breathe, memorizing him, knowing my time was ending. Day 12, my last full day. I spent it with him, talking, remembering. Remember that first day? You were so scared, so hurt. Remember the first time you tried my cooking? You ate an entire loaf of bread in 3 bites. Remember that Christmas? Just us, our own weird little family. He listened, made sounds, remembering too. We were saying goodbye without saying it. Day 13, morning, time to leave. I'd stayed as long as I was allowed. Now I had to go home, resume my life, let him resume his. I'll be back in a month, I said. I promise. They'll call if you need me sooner, but I think you'll be okay. You're strong, stronger than me. You'll adjust. You'll be fine. He looked at me, not fine, not happy, but understanding. I hugged him, or tried to. Hard to hug something that big. He wrapped his arms around me, gentle, careful, one last time. Then I let go, stepped back, started walking away. I didn't look back, couldn't. If I looked back, I'd stay. I'd refuse to leave. I'd make everything harder for both of us, so I walked out of the habitat through the gates to my car, drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw the facility disappear, saw Ezra's new home vanish behind trees, saw 33 years come to an end. I cried the whole drive home. 6 hours of tears, grief, relief, exhaustion, everything hitting at once. When I reached my cabin, it was empty quiet. The barn door stood open, nobody inside, just space where a life had been. I closed it, locked it, walked away. That part of my life was over. The first month home was the hardest. My cabin felt wrong, too quiet, too empty. I'd lived alone before Ezra, preferred it even. But 33 years of having someone to care for, someone who needed me, had changed everything. I'd wake up at 6 a.m. habit. Time to bring breakfast to the barn, then remember he wasn't there, wasn't anywhere I could reach. The barn stood empty. I couldn't bring myself to go inside, to see his space vacant, his blankets gone, his presence erased. April came. My first monthly visit, I was terrified. What if he'd forgotten me? What if he didn't want to see me? What if I was nothing to him now? The moment he saw me, he made that sound, the happy sound, recognition, joy. He came to me immediately, touched my face gently, checking I was real. We sat together for hours, just being, like old times, but different. He was more confident, more himself. Wild in ways he'd never been with me, I left feeling better. He was okay. We were okay. This could work. May 2nd visit. Same joy at seeing me, but less neediness. He was adapting, growing, becoming independent. It's what I wanted, but it hurt anyway. By June, I was struggling. What was my purpose now? For 33 years, I'd had a mission: protect Ezra. Keep him safe, keep him hidden. Every decision filtered through that lens. Now, I was just me, Elena Martinez, 50 years old, no family, no real friends, no mission, just existence. I started writing, not for publication, just for myself, processing, grieving, trying to understand what these 33 years had meant, who I'd become, what I'd lost, what I'd gained. The world had moved on quickly. Initial fascination with Ezra faded to ongoing interest. Documentaries were made, studies published, books written. Everyone had an opinion about him, about me, about whether what I did was right or wrong. I stayed anonymous, declined interviews, Refused book deals. This wasn't about fame or money, never was. By September, visits had become easier. I looked forward to them, but didn't need them desperately. We were both adjusting to our new normal. October 15th, 2024. 33 years and 1 month since I found him. I visited that day, specifically anniversary. Remember? I asked Ezra. 33 years ago today, you were dying in that trap. I was just a kid, 18, terrified. I saved you or you saved me, still not sure which. He remembered, made soft sounds, touched the old scar on his leg, still visible under his fur. We made it, I said, against all odds. We made it. In November, I met someone new at the new facility. Michael Torres, conservationist, 55 years old, working on Sasquatch protection legislation, making sure what happened to Ezra, the hiding, the fear, would never have to happen again. You did something extraordinary, he said to me during his visit. Not just keeping him alive, keeping him human, treating him with dignity when the world would have made him a spectacle. He deserved that, I said simply. Yes, he did. And now, because of your documentation, we can create real protections for him, for any others that might be found. You changed everything. We talked for hours about conservation, about ethics, about what it means to protect something from a world that wants to consume it. He understood, really understood. Not many people did. We stayed in touch, emails, calls. He became a friend. First real friend I'd had in decades. December brought an unexpected invitation. The facility was hosting a small celebration. Just staff, people who worked directly with Ezra. They wanted me there. I almost declined. Crowds weren't my thing. But something made me say yes. It was small. Maybe 20 people. Scientist handlers, vets, Dr. Morrison. All people who cared for Ezra daily, who respected him, treated him well. They shared stories, funny moments, breakthroughs, observations. Each person had connected with him in their own way. I realized I wasn't alone in caring about him anymore. There was a whole community now. People committed to his well-being, his dignity, his life. It didn't replace what we'd had, but it was something, a safety net. Insurance that if something happened to me, he'd still be cared for. Thank you, I told Dr. Morrison, for everything, for treating him right, for seeing him as more than a specimen. Thank you, he replied, for giving us the chance, for all those years of documentation. You gave us a blueprint for how to do this right. We wouldn't have succeeded without you. January 2025, 1 year since the discovery, since the helicopters, since everything changed. I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the forest, thinking about the year, about the 33 years before it. My life looked different now. I had friends, Michael, the facility staff, people who understood what Ezra meant, what I'd done, what it had cost. I had purpose still, not the same as before, but purpose advocating for Sasquatch protection, consulting on the research, making sure Ezra's story was told right, that he wasn't reduced to a monster or a curiosity, but seen as what he was, a person, different from us, but a person. And I had peace, finally. After 33 years of fear and secrecy and isolation, I had peace. Ezra was safe, cared for, protected, not just by me, by laws now, by institutions, by people who valued him. I'd done what I set out to do, kept him alive, kept him safe, gave him a life, and he'd done the same for me. Now, 1 year later, I'm telling this story. My story, our story, not for fame, not for money, but because people need to understand. This wasn't about hiding a monster. This was about protecting a person who happened to be different, who happened to need help, who happened to trust me. For 33 years, I sacrificed everything. My social life, my career potential, my chance at family, my financial security, my mental health at times. Would I do it again? Yes. Without hesitation. Yes. Because Ezra was worth it. Every day, every sacrifice, every moment of fear and stress and exhaustion, he was worth it all. People ask me what I learned, what wisdom I gained from 3 decades with a Sasquatch. I learned that family isn't always who you're born to. Sometimes it's who finds you in the woods, dying and desperate, and chooses to save you anyway. I learned that love doesn't require words. It doesn't require similarity. It just requires presence, commitment, choosing someone every day even when it's hard. I learned that some secrets are kept not from shame, but from love, from understanding that the world isn't ready, isn't kind, isn't safe. And I learned that letting go is part of love too, that protecting someone sometimes means stepping back, allowing them to grow, to become who they're meant to be, even if it means losing them in the process. Ezra is thriving now. He's healthy, active, engaged. He's remembered how to be wild while keeping the gentleness I loved about him. He's not mine anymore, not in the way he was, but he's safe. And that's all I ever wanted. Last week, I visited, March visit, right on schedule. He greeted me warmly. We sat together, shared silence like old times. Then he did something new. He led me to a tree, showed me carvings in the bark, crude but deliberate, symbols, pictures, a small figure and a large figure, side by side, stick figures like the card he'd made me. He'd been marking trees throughout the habitat, telling a story, our story, in the only way he could. You're remembering, I said, making sure you don't forget, making sure others know when they study you someday. When researchers try to understand who you were, they'll find these, and they'll know. You had family. You were loved. He nodded, placed his hand on my shoulder. One more time. I understood. This was his way of saying it mattered. All of it mattered. The 33 years weren't wasted, weren't forgotten, weren't meaningless. We'd saved each other, gave each other purpose, family, love, when neither of us had anywhere else to turn. And that's the story. Not of hiding a monster, but of loving someone the world wasn't ready for, of choosing sacrifice over safety, of 33 years that changed 2 lives forever. My name is Elena Martinez. I'm 51 years old, and I hid a living Bigfoot for 33 years. Not because I was crazy, not because I was lonely, not because I wanted to profit, but because on October 15th, 1991, I made a choice to help someone suffering, to show mercy when the world would have shown curiosity or cruelty. And because every single day for 33 years I chose him again, chose love, chose commitment, chose protection. Would I recommend it? No. It's too hard, too isolating, too costly. But would I change it? Never. Not one day, not one moment. Because some things are worth any sacrifice. Some friendships transcend species. Some secrets are kept out of love. And some people, no matter how different, how impossible, how unexpected, become family. Ezra was my family, is my family, always will be. That's my truth. That's our story. And now, finally, the world knows. 1 year later, March 2025, I'm visiting Ezra again. Monthly routine now, familiar, comfortable. He greets me warmly, shows me things he's discovered. A new path, a berry bush, A family of raccoons that visit his habitat. He's proud, happy, alive in ways he never was in the barn. This is what I wanted, what I sacrificed everything for. His safety, his dignity, his life. We sit together as the sun sets, golden light through trees, neither of us talking, just being. This is enough. This connection, this friendship, this love that transcends everything that should make it impossible. Time to go. I stand. He makes the sound. Goodbye. See you soon. 1 month, I say. Always 1 month, I'll be back, I promise. I walk away. Look back this time. He's watching. Not sad, just connected. We'll see each other again. We always will. The gates close between us, gently, not separating, just defining spaces. His world, my world, overlapping. I drive home, watch his habitat disappear in my mirrors. He's safe there, protected. That's all that matters. My cabin welcomes me. Home. Not lonely anymore, just peaceful. The barn stands empty, but not haunted. Just part of our history. A chapter closed. A story told. I sit on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the forest I've loved my whole life. The forest that gave me Ezra. That gave me purpose. That gave me everything. I'm 51 years old. I hid a living Bigfoot for 33 years. And I'd do it all again because some things are worth any cost. Some friendships transcend impossibility. And some choices, no matter how hard, are absolutely right. That's my truth. That's our story. And now it's the world's story, too.
We have breaking news of a reported Bigfoot attack in the Red Desert, where a young woman was tragically injured. Details are still emerging.
No. The door just opened by itself. No.
Which one?
That door just opened by itself. That door just opened by itself.
I've got a knife in here. I've got a knife.
Who's out here venturing into the darkness of the wilderness, alone and vulnerable? The woods can be an eerie place, especially at night. But what happens when you stumble upon something that makes your blood run cold? Tonight, we're exploring the 9 most disturbing camping encounters ever caught on camera. These chilling clips will make you question everything about the great outdoors and leave you wondering if you'll ever dare to step into the woods alone again. From unexplained noises to terrifying encounters, these videos will haunt your dreams and make you think twice about who or what is lurking in the shadows. Jake Travis, the adventurous guy behind the Hoggett Project, was out on his latest camping trip in the rugged mountains of Washington State. His plan was simple but exciting. Dive into the wild, capture his experience, and explore strange happenings that seem to lurk in these dense woods.
Back out here in the mountains, and I'm thinking of going up to the top there, having a look. If that doesn't work, back in here looks like it's flattening out. Made it to the top.
Little did he know, this time he'd find something far scarier than just a quiet night under the stars. The day started like any other. He hiked up the trail toward a spot near a creek running through the woods. The sound of rushing water, the fresh smell of pine trees, and the peace of being alone in nature surrounded him as he looked for the best place to camp, away from other people. He found a small, flat area that seemed perfect. The ground was soft, probably from animals passing through, and the trees were in good spots to hang his tarp. But as he started setting up camp, something felt off. The tarp, which should have been easy, was giving him trouble. The trees weren't in the best spots, and he realized the tarp wasn't square, making it a little harder to set up. But Jake pushed through and got it up, creating a slanted shelter against the hill. By the time he finished, the sky was starting to darken. As the campfire flickered and the air grew colder, Jake began to feel uneasy. Earlier, he had heard a strange noise. Something loud and heavy. Could it have been the wind? An animal? Maybe just a rotting log settling? He wasn't sure. But then, as if the woods were playing tricks on him, another noise came from the forest. This time closer. The crunch of footsteps on dry leaves and twigs. Jake froze.
And that's when I stand up and I just shine the forest. Of course the noise has stopped, and I'm guessing whoever it was, it found a good spot to lay low. I didn't see any eyes blowing back, didn't see any movement, other than I did see a bat. But definitely that is not what made the loud noises. In all this, I probably shined the light on the forest for a good 3 to 4 solid minutes.
His heart started to race. He slowly stood up, scanning the dark woods. The light from his flashlight cut through the trees, showing only shadows and a bat flying by. But the footsteps had stopped. Whoever, or whatever, had been out there was now gone. A chill ran down his spine. He thought about what to do. Should he stay and keep the fire going, or pack up and leave?
And I was like, I'm not scared right now, but I'm also thinking maybe I'm too close to the stream. That's going to attract animals coming to get a drink.
The creek was too close, and the smell of water might attract animals. But still, the strange noises kept nagging at him. He decided it was time to go. As he packed up, he heard another sound. A heavy crunch, closer to the creek this time. Jake quickly finished packing, his senses on high alert.
I think I see something small. Maybe it's like a raccoon or something right there by the water. And as I hit the high beam, this is when I see it. I see something standing there on the side of the road, pretending to be a statue.
As he walked to his car, he glanced over his shoulder, half expecting to see something following him. And that's when he saw it. At first, he thought it was just an animal, a raccoon maybe, near the water.
Whatever this was, decided it was just going to freeze, and then maybe I wouldn't think it was anything. But as I'm looking in that direction, I'm not even kidding, it looks like somebody dressed up in camo. And they've got their back slightly angled away, I'd say like at a 45 degree. They're standing there about 6 feet tall, looking like a human that I just caught that was probably sneaking up on me. That's all I can think.
But when he turned on his headlights, what he saw made him feel cold all over. A figure, standing still. It looked like a person, but something wasn't right. It was positioned oddly, like it was trying to hide in the shadows. The figure was dressed head to toe in camouflage, and the way it stood seemed unnatural. There was no movement, just stillness. Jake's instincts screamed that this wasn't a regular hiker. It was like someone had been following him, trying to stay hidden.
That is what happened, and eventually after the 20 seconds, he didn't move, he just kept standing there. So I just pretended like, oh, maybe I didn't see it then. On my way out, periodically I'd turn back, check. Nope, didn't see him, he's gone. And that's that. Very, very strange, and I don't know what the plan was for me.
For what felt like forever, Jake kept the headlights on the figure. His mind raced. Should he call out? What if this person meant harm? But after what felt like 20 seconds, the figure still hadn't moved. In that moment, the fear that had been creeping up on him took over. If he confronted it, what would happen next? Would the stranger attack? Jake did the only thing he could think of. He pretended not to see it. He acted like everything was normal and, with his heart pounding, he turned away. But as he drove off, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every time he glanced in the rearview mirror, the figure was gone. He didn't see it again, but the unease stuck with him long after. The mountains had always been his peaceful escape, but after that night, the woods didn't feel so welcoming anymore. Who had been out there with him, and what did they want? Was it just a lost hiker, or was something darker going on? Jay couldn't stop thinking that the woods were hiding more than he was ready to find. The fear of the unknown stayed with him, and as he drove away from the mountains, he wondered, would it be safe to go back? Or had he just stumbled onto something far scarier than he could have imagined? What do you think? Was it just a person in camouflage? Or is there something more mysterious lurking in the woods? The explorer from YouTube channel Grizzly Gaz makes his way through a dark forest, commenting on how spooky the place looks. His flashlight flickers on and off, adding to the eerie feeling. He jokingly mentions that it's a school night, but it's not unusual for him to be out exploring.
I'm in this woodland and I've heard that pagans come in here to do their rituals. Is that what you want to call it? So I'm looking for, it's a large down tree and it's around this area somewhere. So I'll have to figure out where that is quickly because we're losing light.
As he walks deeper into the woods, he talks about rumors of pagans coming to the area for ceremonies, which makes the adventure feel more mysterious. The explorer is looking for a large fallen tree that's said to be connected to pagan rituals. He finds it, but even before seeing any signs of rituals, the place already feels strange. Despite this, he decides to set up camp near the tree. The camera shows the woods getting darker and his gear only gives off a little light, making the area feel even spookier. Once his tent is ready, the explorer talks about having dinner, bacon mash, and jokes about his dog, Fendi, causing some trouble. He also mentions how cold it's getting, noting the temperature dropping as night falls.
Have you ever lost a pair of trousers? I lost my sausage jack trousers. My brown ones, and I've no idea where I put them. I haven't been anywhere to take them off because I only wear them when I go camping, so I've no idea where I put them.
While making his food, he tells a funny story about losing a pair of his camping pants, which adds a bit of humor to the creepy atmosphere. He jokes about needing to buy new pants, keeping the mood light. After dinner, the explorer says that once it gets fully dark, he plans to go for a walk. He talks about how creepy the woods are at night, with only his flashlight lighting the way. As he walks further with Fendi, the woods get even more unsettling. He mentions how hard it is to walk through the woods in the dark, with no clear paths, just animal trails. He hears strange noises, like acorns and leaves falling, which are much louder in the quiet night, making it hard to tell if they're just normal sounds or something spooky. As the night goes on, the explorer starts to feel more uneasy.
There's a slight breeze in the air, so there's lots of things just dropping from trees because it's autumn now, so there's conkers and all sorts of stuff dropping out over here in front of me.
He hears branches cracking, and, with the wind picking up, the sounds from the trees add to the creepy vibe. He thinks about his previous camping experiences, mentioning that while it was fun, he doesn't like doing extra tasks like chopping wood when he's stuck in a small space with bugs. He keeps walking around and notices the feeling of unease growing. There's a sense that something is off as he hears more noises. Some of the sounds seem too close, and he talks about the danger of falling branches, which can be deadly. The explorer hears more noises, including something that sounds like footsteps or someone walking nearby. His nervousness increases when he realizes that his flashlight is having problems, making everything feel even creepier. He tries to calm Fendi down as the dog is getting more worked up. The explorer's worry grows as his light flickers off and on.
GoPro's nearly dead and all. Let me try and find a torch.
This makes everything feel even more tense. At one point, he mentions that the battery in his GoPro is running low, which adds to his sense of vulnerability.
I think best thing to do now is to pack up and get out of here. I don't like being in this tent now, not one bit. I'm going to leave you running to make sure.
He starts to feel trapped and more anxious, saying he doesn't want to be in the tent anymore. By now, the tension is high. The explorer hears more strange noises and can't tell if it's just the wind or something else. His flashlight keeps malfunctioning, which makes him even more scared. He talks about how uneasy he feels because of the flickering light, the strange noises, and Fendi acting anxious. He even considers packing up and leaving the woods, feeling disoriented and scared by the darkness. The explorer talks about how things feel even more wrong now, and that he might need to leave the area. His growing panic and the strange sounds are getting stronger. The situation reaches its peak when the explorer hears loud shouting and running noises, as if a large group of people is coming toward his camp. This makes him feel even more exposed and forces him to grab his things quickly. He doesn't want to stay there with those noises getting closer. He hurriedly gathers his gear, leaving behind his tent and some other equipment as he rushes to get out.
Wow, what a crazy night that was, eh? When I was packing up, I managed to get my my sleeping bag and everything and get that in my backpack. Then I heard loads and loads of screaming, like shouting from men, and it sounded like there were about 20 or 30 of them. And then they all started running, and it sounded like they were coming towards tent, so I just grabbed my bag and off skis, because my keys were in my bag.
His heart races as he realizes the sounds might be close by. In a panic, the explorer leaves the area with Fendi, leaving some camping gear behind. He says that while he's okay with being scared, the thought of losing his equipment makes him more upset. He also notices tears in his tent's cover, which makes him think someone, or something, was messing with his camp. The explorer seems sure that some outside force was trying to make him leave, which makes the mystery of what's going on in the woods even deeper. As the video ends, the explorer is seen running away, still feeling the fear hanging over him. The noise and disturbances in the woods, along with the damaged gear, leave him wondering what really happened that night. The video finishes with a feeling of unease as he reflects on what happened, but without clear answers. Two girls, you might know them from their YouTube channel Camper Vibe, wanting to escape the busy noise of the holiday season, decided to head into the quiet woods of Pluckley, England, a place known not only for its beauty but also for its spooky reputation. Looking for peace and quiet, they set up their tent and got ready for a night under the stars. But this wasn't just any forest. It was one of the most haunted places in the UK. Pluckley, a small village nearby, has the title of Britain's most haunted village. With 14 known ghosts and a strange history of mysterious deaths and disappearances, it's even in the Guinness World Records. If they had looked it up before arriving, they would have known how strange this place was. But they decided to go ahead with their adventure, wanting to ignore the creepy feeling around them. Instead of turning back to go home, the ghosts chose a road on their own. The woods were known for ghost stories, like the ghost of a highwayman who was killed and beheaded in the 18th century. But there were also more recent and disturbing stories about murders and disappearances, which made the place feel even more unsettling. As night fell, the girls, with a ukulele, a campfire, and a simple dinner of meatballs and pasta, tried to relax. But the forest had other plans. The peaceful sounds of the forest quickly changed to odd noises.
Honestly, I've never known a woods with so many strange noises. It's not just your normal birds and stuff and planes. There's a lot of planes. There's like this weird... I don't really know how to describe it, but burn out in a bit, sit here and enjoy a fire for a little while and then head to bed. The hammock's really comfy, thank God, so I should sleep well, I would think. Where's my big bean? What was that noise?
Footsteps, movement near their tent. and strange sounds that couldn't be explained made them nervous. It wasn't just animals, something else, something human, seemed to be lurking in the dark.
What the was that? I don't want to turn the light on because I'm pretty convinced there's been a person or persons. What the fuck? I've never wanted the morning to come as much as I do right now.
The fear grew, making it hard to ignore the fact that they might not be alone. They tried to cheer themselves up with jokes and enjoyed their simple meal, but the atmosphere felt tense. As the night went on, it only got worse. What started as weird noises turned into clear footsteps around their camp, walking back and forth all night. The girls were too scared to turn on their flashlights or check, so they stayed in fear and uncertainty. Was it a lost hiker, or something far worse? As each hour passed, they felt more and more anxious, and by morning, neither of them had slept. The frightening feeling from the night stayed with them, but when morning came, they pushed themselves to continue. They grabbed their cameras, packed up their stuff, and headed out to explore. Along the way, they made an odd discovery, an old Bedford truck sitting all alone in the middle of the woods. They had no idea how it got there, but it seemed like the kind of place someone might hide from the strange happenings around them. They also learned that this very forest, called Screaming Wood, was one of the most famous for paranormal activity. Stories said that screams could be heard in the woods at night, scaring anyone who went too far in. They also heard stories about a monk, always mourning the death of his lover, still wandering the woods. Was it these kinds of ghosts that made the air feel so creepy? That night, their dinner was a bit fancier: steak, chips, mushrooms, and sweet corn. They tried to ignore the unsettling noises, focusing on their meal and each other, but the quiet that often fell over the woods was enough to make anyone feel uneasy. Even as they settled in for another night, knowing the haunted history of the place, they still felt scared. The wind picked up and the trees creaked. The air was still, and the deer they had heard earlier now seemed eerily quiet. Then the strange noises came again. Footsteps, slow and steady, walking around their camp. But this time, they were too scared to look. Was it something supernatural, or just their nerves getting the best of them in such an eerie place? In the end, the night passed without anything else scary happening, but the strange sounds and ghost stories stayed in their minds long after the fire went out. It was definitely the most haunted camping trip they'd ever had, and even though they didn't believe in ghosts, they couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was out there watching them in the cold, quiet woods. This wasn't just a camping trip. It was an adventure into the unknown, a place where history, ghost stories, and spooky experiences all came together for a memorable, though scary, night. The girls may have walked away with more questions than answers, but one thing was clear: they'd never forget their night in Pluckley's haunted woods. Tom, a 26-year-old app developer from Essex, recently started a new channel, Thomas Locke, for IRL vlogs, where he shares his outdoor adventures and personal life with his viewers.
I hope that's how it ends up working out. I've just come back from a really heavy leg day at the gym. I'm still sweating like mad. It took half an hour longer than I expected it to, so I am leaving for this wild camp.
In this video, he's going on a solo wild camping trip even though he's running behind. After a tough leg day at the gym, Tom is already feeling tired and sweaty, but he's determined to make it work. He's late to leave and the sun will set in about 40 minutes. He still needs to drive for 20 minutes and walk another 20 to reach his camping spot. He's cutting it close, but that won't stop him. While driving, the sunset light reflecting off the car makes everything feel magical, and he gets more excited about the trip. He jokes that he'll be at a feast for the mosquitoes tonight, since he's covered in sweat. But it doesn't stop him. Tom wasn't planning to camp at this spot originally, but since he's running out of time, he picks a closer location. When he parks, he sees his dog Airy loving the open field, running around happily. This lifts Tom's spirits, as he's still feeling the pressure of being late. The path to the camp is overgrown, and Tom isn't quite ready for it. There are nettles and thorns scratching his legs, and he realizes he should have worn long pants. After struggling through the thick brush, he stops to change into the right gear. Once he's ready, the trail becomes more manageable, and he feels a bit better. It's quiet though, and as he walks, he hears the faint sound of a tractor nearby. He's happy to be away from busy paths, but there's still something strange about the silence. As Tom moves deeper into the woods, something feels off. He can't shake the feeling that he's trespassing, not legally, but in a spiritual sense.
His dog's tail, he keeps looking over there. His tail. It's just completely dropped. He keeps looking in that direction.
The woods are so quiet, and it feels like something's wrong. Aries' behavior makes him even more uneasy. The dog starts acting strange, staring at one spot in the woods, tail down and eyes darting around. Tom feels more uncomfortable. It's not just the quiet, it's like everything around him is watching. He wonders if he's just imagining things, but something doesn't feel right. Tom's gut instinct tells him to cook dinner, put on some bug spray, and just get through the night. But the more he thinks about it, the more uneasy he becomes. The woods just don't feel right.
Just birds, mate, just birds. Yep.
He wonders if the weird feeling is just in his head, or if Aries is sensing something he can't see. Tom starts to feel like maybe camping here isn't a good idea after all. Then, things get worse. He's about to make food when Aries keeps staring into the woods, which is starting to freak Tom out. Aries never reacts like this, and it makes Tom question if he should even stay. He begins to feel like he's doing something wrong by being there, like something doesn't want him around. The woods are silent, and the usual sounds of crickets and birds are gone, making everything feel even creepier. Tom even starts thinking about comments he's gotten online, with one person suggesting that maybe he's too nervous for camping and should quit.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I was going to talk about how this one guy was like, oh, you should quit camping if you're overly nervous, and I was going to be like, no, I'm not overly nervous. Yeah, here I am camping in a forest on my own. I just had doubts because 2 people approached me in the middle of my last video.
Tom is torn between finishing his trip and listening to the feeling in his gut that something's wrong. He decides to leave. It's not an easy choice, but he's trusting his instincts. He's not the type to quit, but this time something feels off. He packs up his stuff, deciding it's better to be safe. Aries seems relieved as they head back. As they leave, Tom feels a bit better, but he's still unsure if he made the right decision. Would everything have been fine if he stayed? Maybe. But just as he's thinking about it, something strange happens. Out of nowhere, he hears a loud noise from the woods that makes the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. It doesn't sound like any animal or person he knows. His heart races and his voice drops, filled with fear.
You won't have heard that because I've got my mic on me.
Aries too is acting strange, which makes Tom even more anxious. Now Tom is completely sure that leaving was the right call. The strange noise and the weird vibe in the woods confirm that it wasn't a place he should have stayed. As Tom walks away, he reflects on how maybe his mind was playing tricks on him, but he's okay with that. He doesn't regret leaving. In the last moments of the video, Tom's voice becomes quieter and more serious. He thinks about how leaving doesn't feel like failure, it feels like survival. As he walks away, the video shows him glancing back at the woods one last time. Tom finishes the video with the feeling that something supernatural might have been going on. The strange noise only confirmed what he already suspected, that the place was off. While he doesn't have an explanation for what happened, he's fine with that. He made the right choice to leave, and he feels at peace with his decision. Urban explorers have a talent for finding forgotten places, and one such group, based in the Greater Toronto Area, GTA, set out to explore a creepy location, the abandoned Gundry Sanitarium. Built in 1880 by architect Charles Baker, the sanitarium was originally a private facility for women who needed rest and care away from home. But its later history was much darker. In the 1990s, the building was turned into a psychiatric center for children. However, after many reports of mistreatment, it was shut down in the early 2000s. The property, taken over by the city, has been abandoned and falling apart ever since.
It operated as such until its closure in 1997, where it exchanged ownership with the local church and was converted into a psychiatric facility for children. This new life was short-lived, however, after several reports of abuse and mistreatment of patients led to an official investigation of the facility following its closure in early 2000.
On this particular trip, the group entered the old decaying building, some going in together, others exploring alone. At first, everything seemed quiet, just an old, forgotten place falling apart. The explorers walked through the rooms, checking out the leftovers of what was once a working building.
Oh, that's a pretty sweet fireplace.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
They found old fireplaces, broken windows, and a strange level of damage. The walls had stories to tell. Peeling paint, abandoned furniture, and signs of a past life scattered across the rooms. But as the group explored deeper, the unsettling feeling in the sanitarium started to grow.
No. The door just opened by itself. No.
Which one?
That door just opened by itself. That door just opened by itself.
One of the explorers, Dan, found something strange. A door in a particular room opened by itself. The strange sounds and moving objects were things they had heard about, but now they were seeing them for themselves. Was it the wind, or was something or someone moving these things? As they went on, a sense of worry grew. The building had a history of people being treated badly, and as they explored further, the group started to feel that the building's past was still there, almost as if the place was filled with memories of what had happened.
You said you found another dead cat?
Yeah.
They put a flower with it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Damn, that's messed
Is
up.
somebody killing cats and just...
I don't think so.
The explorers found something disturbing. A dead cat, still smelling bad, trapped inside the building. Dan thought the poor animal might have wandered in and couldn't find a way out, but the smell stuck around, mixing with the rotting air, showing that this place had been empty for a long time, but still not totally abandoned. They also found odd marks on the walls, children's drawings, religious papers, and strange messages. Even though they didn't believe in ghosts at first, the group couldn't help but notice some weird things happening.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a timer. What the? Did you wind up this timer?
Things were moved around, and a strange ticking noise from an old jacuzzi timer made the place feel even more creepy. The most unsettling thing they found? Dolls. When they went back to the room with the dolls, they realized the dolls had been moved. They were in different spots than where they had left them. Was it the wind? Or was something else going on? As the group kept exploring, they found another room where the door opened on its own again. It was like something, or someone, was behind it, pulling the door open. The cold air, strange noises, and the feeling of being watched made them uneasy. They pushed on, trying to figure out what was happening. In one of the last moments, they went into the basement and found more strange signs.
Look at the old pipework.
The old pipes and equipment from when the building had been a psychiatric center told a sad story of when it had housed vulnerable children. When they reached the top floor, a final mystery was waiting for them. The dolls had been moved again, in a room where the atmosphere felt heavy, like they weren't alone. Was the Gundry Sanitarium haunted? Was something living in the walls making those strange sounds? Or was it just their minds playing tricks in such a run-down, creepy place? The explorers didn't have answers, but they did have footage, proof of their experience. Strange moments caught on camera that they couldn't explain. In the end, the haunted sanitarium stayed as it was, forgotten, falling apart, and full of mystery. What happened to the children who were there? What forces still lurk in the shadows? Maybe some questions are better left unanswered. But one thing's for sure, the Gundry Sanitarium will keep haunting the minds of those brave enough to explore its abandoned halls. Nathan had been a self-proclaimed armchair survivalist for many years, but 2022 was the year he decided to take his skills outdoors and try them out in the wilds of Scotland. His first winter camp of the year was bound to be interesting. Armed with a knife, a sleeping bag, and the usual gear, he was ready to face whatever the wilderness threw at him.
Hi guys, welcome back to Under the Weather. First winter camp of 2022. Gonna have a wee camp overnight. Get a fire going, cook up some chicken wings I hope, and gonna cook with alcohol for the first time, so stay around and see how that goes.
However, this was no ordinary camping trip. No, this time the wild would not make things easy. Documenting his journey on his channel Under the Weather, Nathan captured every challenge and triumph, bringing viewers along for the adventure. As soon as Nathan arrived, he realized it was wetter than expected, which made starting the fire a bit harder. But, as any experienced camper knows, when things get tough, you just have to keep going. After a little time, Nathan finally got the fire going, though it took longer than he wanted. He had a plan for the evening. Chicken wings cooked over an open flame, using the cowgirl method for the first time. What could go wrong? Well, we'd soon find out.
Right, done at last. That was amateur hour. I forgot the skewers, so you may have seen me trying with a couple of wee bendy sticks, but anyway, here we are. We have fried burnt chicken wings, mashed potato, which is actually not too bad, and some cheese coleslaw. For a summer picnic. Let's try one of these wings.
Next, it was time to try out his new sleeping bag. Nathan had brought along a fine nature hike sleeping bag, designed for winter camping. He unwrapped it and hoped it would keep him warm as promised. When he opened it, he joked that it would magically expand like the TARDIS and keep him cozy for the night.
Okay, I think that's me ready to settle in. Trying out the new bag, which is pretty cozy. I think I'm actually going to be too hot. That's about it. So, let's see. God, I'm roasting already. Feels good. Oh, that feels good. A bit too hot, but right. So I think I'm going to go to sleep. And unless something crazy happens, I will see you in the morning. Good night.
He left it to puff up, trusting the goose down to do its job. After a little while, the bag seemed ready and looked promising. Nathan was excited about it, but would it be enough to keep him warm in the cold of the night? Now, with the fire and sleeping bag under control.
Got milk with me today. Oh, I don't know how much this might take. But I had to buy a new cup from Primark. Not Primark, from Lidl. Not sure how much liquid it can take. Turn. Turn, you bugger. Right. May drink it of that.
It was time for the coffee. Nathan pulled out a new cup from Lidl, not from Primark, he made sure to point out, and got ready to brew. There was just one small problem. He couldn't figure out how to close the lid properly. After a few tries, he finally got his coffee ready, though some milk had spilled and it was a little frustrating. It was a small issue, but it added to the challenges of the night. Then came the moment Nathan had been waiting for. Cooking the chicken wings. The fire was going, the chicken was seasoned, but there was one problem. Nathan forgot the skewers. No problem though, improvising was key in the wild, so he grabbed a couple of bendy sticks, and that would have to do. The chicken wings were placed over the flames, and after a little work, Nathan ended up with what could only be called fried burnt chicken wings. It wasn't a gourmet meal, but it was edible, and surprisingly, it tasted good once he added a lot of Tabasco sauce. A side of mashed potatoes and coleslaw completed the meal, which wasn't too bad, considering the situation. And as funny as it may seem, basing the chicken with Tabasco sauce, that's heaven. and the only food descriptive in the word donut. By this point, night was falling, and it was clear that things wouldn't be getting any easier. The outside world was wet and muddy, and though it wasn't raining, everything was damp. Nathan decided it was time to retreat to his tent. With the sound of a nearby waterfall as the only background noise, he settled in, book in hand, and started to relax, until his mind began to play tricks on him. The wind picked up, and it was then that he heard something strange. At first, it was a distant sound.
I've got a knife in here. I've got a knife. I've got a knife. Right.
Something like a laugh. Was there someone else out there with him? Impossible. Nathan was sure he was alone, isolated on a tiny island with rivers on both sides. No one could possibly be nearby. But the laughter kept going, followed by the sound of footsteps near the water.
Hello? 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 Jesus Christ! Fuck that.
Nathan's heart began to race. Was it an animal? Was there someone out there? He didn't know. In his nervous state, he joked that if anything happened to him, this would be his last will and testament, but he was really feeling unsettled. After hearing what sounded like someone moving near the water, Nathan quickly grabbed his knife and got ready to investigate. His heart was pounding as he heard more sounds. Was someone there? Or was it just his mind playing tricks on him? He didn't want to find out, so he quickly ran back into the tent, trying to convince himself it was just the wind or something natural. He eventually managed to fall asleep, but not without a lingering sense of worry. When morning came, bringing sunlight and some relief, Nathan decided to check outside. Thankfully, the strange noises hadn't been caused by any dangerous visitors, though his fire had long since gone out because of the wet conditions. Everything looked the same, wet, cold, and a little less magical than he had hoped. But Nathan was ready with some modern fire-starting methods, and soon he had a small fire going again. He thought briefly about the night, the strange noises, the mistakes, and the small wins. He hadn't expected it to be easy, but this was all part of the adventure. There were still lessons to be learned, and the day was just beginning. Packing up his gear and taking one last look at the wilderness around him, Nathan couldn't help but feel proud. The wilderness had thrown everything it could at him: wet weather, tough fires, an eerie night, and even a mistake with the chicken wings. But he had made it, and he'd learned something new along the way. Before leaving, he gave a quick shout-out to viewers. Like and subscribe if you can, I really appreciate it. And with that, Nathan signed off, ready to head back to civilization, knowing he'd be back again for more wild adventures in the future. And as always, the team at Under the Weather promised to return, eager for the next challenge. The video from the YouTube channel Grizzly Gaz begins with the host and their dog Fendi setting off to explore an old ruined church that still has its tall tower, along with a forgotten graveyard that is said to be haunted. The host jokes about how spooky the place is and expresses excitement about the adventure ahead. As they get closer to the church remains, the host explains that it used to be the Church of England, but it was torn down in 2007 after a storm. Even though it's been destroyed, the tower and some lower parts of the church are still standing.
I'm here in Stony Royd Cemetery to try and find an old church that's been demolished, but there's still a spire left, and also a forgotten graveyard that's apparently haunted. So come on, let's go find it.
The host shares their interest in Gothic buildings, pointing out the old stone walls and fancy details, including the tile floor that is still there inside the church. They wonder about the church's design and ask viewers to share their thoughts, especially about the weep holes on the outside. They mention that the church might have been used by people who didn't follow the main church's teachings, and that the site is now closed to the public. The host then heads to the forgotten graveyard, showing graves and tombs that have been covered by leaves and time.
So this is the forgotten graveyard up here. And these are all the forgotten graves.
They mention that the cemetery has stones remembering those buried there. The host talks about the eerie feeling in the air, mentioning church bells and a notice that the cemetery is closing. As they explore, the host shares some history of the place. They explain that Christopher Rawson's mansion was built there in 1764, and in 1860, the land was bought by the Halifax Corporation. They tore down the mansion and built a fever hospital that had 2 churches and 2 graveyards, one for the Church of England and one for people who didn't belong to it. The host describes how thousands of bodies were moved from 3 different churches to Stony Ride Cemetery, where the remains of over 3,000 people were relocated. They reflect on how these people were moved and forgotten, adding to the spooky vibe of the cemetery. The host mentions the legend of a lady in white who is said to haunt the woods, building even more suspense.
There's a lady in white here.
As it starts getting dark, the host sets up a tent near the vault and plans to stay overnight.
There it is. There's a setup. Seat of summit. Comfort light pad. The Nature Hike CW 400 sleeping pad. That's Fendi's Seat of Summit pad. Trekology pillow.
They joke about their camping gear, like the sleeping pad and pillow, and remind themselves to keep the tent zipped to keep bugs out. While setting up, the host points out that Fendi is acting strangely, which adds to the creepy atmosphere. Setting up the tent gives a break from the tension, with a nice view of Halifax in the background. Once the camp is ready, the host uses an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, device to try and communicate with any spirits around. The device responds with the word lower, followed by Albert.
If someone's here, will you come and say something into this device?
Lower.
Lower?
The host is curious and asks if Albert is there. Fendi, who has been acting odd, runs under a structure, which makes everything feel even spookier. The host jokes about it, but strange things are starting to happen. As night falls, the host walks deeper into the graveyard with Fendi, using a GoPro to record. They're unsure about the footage in the dark, but they're determined to keep exploring. They find a dark and spooky part of the site, where they hear strange noises and see shadows that might be from ghosts. The host switches to their phone camera, which works better in low light, and keeps going. The camera catches an unsettling image of something that looks like a person inside the church ruins. The mood gets more tense with creepy sounds and moments of fear.
Can maybe have a look inside here. Can you see out?
At one point, the host finds a disturbing image of a cat in a pet cemetery and jokes about the movie Pet Sematary. This makes everything feel even creepier, and the host mentions that they might need to leave soon before things get even weirder. They keep exploring, focusing on the spooky church tower and the haunting stained glass in the moonlight. The mystery deepens as the host comments on the beauty of the place, even though it feels eerie. As the night goes on, the host has a strange moment when they see something they describe as a strange little creature. It's hard to tell if it's an animal or something else, but the host is a little shaken. Fendi seems to sense something too, but the host reassures the viewers, saying that they have their dog for protection. They're relieved when the exploration for the night ends, but the feeling of tension still lingers, leaving the door open for more spooky events. The video switches to the next morning, with the host waking up around 6:30 a.m. as the sun starts to rise. They think back on the experience, noting that nothing especially paranormal happened during the night, though the atmosphere was still unsettling. They joke about their camping gear, including a comfy sleeping bag, and share a funny moment with Fendi. The host says that nothing supernatural happened, but they still feel the thrill of the eerie adventure. Larry's channel, Work Less, Enjoy Life More, was all about getting away from the stress of always working and living with less pressure. He used to run his own businesses, working long hours and feeling like his days off didn't really exist. He realized his life was taken over by responsibilities, big properties to take care of, bills piling up, and decided to sell everything. Now he works less than part-time, just enough to pay his bills, and spends his time in places like this, places most people only visit on weekends, if that.
I used to have my own businesses, I worked a lot, felt like even on my days off, they weren't days off. I decided to sell everything, kind of let the businesses go, and now I work what I would consider less than part-time, and it pays my bills.
Larry thought he was very lucky to have this life. One evening, Larry was camping in a beautiful, quiet spot, far away from the busy world. The temperature was finally cooling down to 78 DGF, and he had a fan going to help move the air, since his air conditioner had broken the week before. He thought he had about an hour or two before it got fully dark, so he decided to relax and maybe watch some TV while waiting for the heat to drop. It was supposed to be a peaceful, easy evening, just the kind of thing he had been working for. But then things took a strange turn. While he was getting comfortable, the normal sounds of nature around him started to change. The calm noise of the wilderness was broken by something unusual. A sound outside. At first, it was quiet, but clear, a distant sound of footsteps walking outside his camp. Larry stopped. There was no doubt now. The footsteps were clear, heavy, and steady. Someone, or something, was out there. Larry's heart began to race. He was alone, or at least he thought he was. He hadn't seen anyone for miles. The sound stopped, but the feeling of worry stayed. He tried to ignore it. Maybe it was just a deer or some other animal walking by. But then, a few minutes later, he noticed something even more strange. His chair, his folding camping chair, had been moved.
Okay, this chair was over here by the table last night when I went to bed, or the last time I went outside.
Larry was sure it had been by the table when he went to bed the night before, but now it wasn't in the same place. It had been moved, placed somewhere else. His eyes moved to it. That didn't feel right. Who would have moved it? Larry's mind began to race, trying to figure out what was happening. Maybe it was just the wind. Maybe the ground shifted, but the thought of someone, or something, being out here with him in the middle of nowhere made him uneasy. He took a deep breath and decided to go outside. He was still hoping it was just a strange accident, that there was an easy explanation. But when he stepped outside, he saw something unexpected. A tent, just down the road from where he was camping. "I'm out in the middle of nowhere," Larry said quietly to himself. "Why is there a tent right down the road from where I'm camping?" He looked around. He had been in this spot for a while and hadn't seen anyone or anything for miles. So, where did this tent come from? Larry's feeling of worry grew. He decided to walk toward the road, his senses on high alert. As he got closer, something even stranger caught his eye. A truck, a dark-colored Ford parked on the side of the road. No one was around, it was just sitting there, out of place in such a quiet spot. "I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen another person for miles," Larry thought to himself. The whole thing didn't make sense. A tent, a truck, but no people. Something didn't feel right. Then, Larry's worry grew even more. He remembered something. Earlier, he had seen a man, a figure sitting in the truck just parked on the side of the road, a guy in a Ford, sitting there, not moving. The whole thing felt wrong. It was creepy, especially in such a lonely area where he had expected complete quiet. Larry's mind raced. Why was there a truck out here, and who was the person in it?
I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Why is there a tent? Like right down the road from where I was camping.
Why hadn't he seen anyone earlier in the day, and now there were signs of life? Strange, unexplainable signs? At that moment, Larry's gut told him something was wrong. Something wasn't right in this peaceful, quiet place. The calm of the night had been broken, replaced by an uneasy feeling. He wasn't just camping anymore, he was starting to feel like someone was watching him. He spoke to the camera, trying to make light of the situation, but his voice had a nervous edge to it. "Don't forget to share this with a friend if you want to freak them out," he said half-jokingly, but the fear in his voice was clear. Something was wrong. Larry felt it deep down. He wasn't alone out here. But who, or what, was out there with him? Was it just a strange accident, or had he found something much darker than he had imagined? As he stood there, questioning everything, Larry couldn't shake the feeling that he was being pulled into a mystery he wasn't ready for. He had come out here for peace and quiet, but now the woods felt strange, even dangerous. The calm night that had seemed so peaceful just hours ago now felt like the quiet before a storm. What do you think? Was it just a strange coincidence, or was there something more horrible at work in that quiet part of the wilderness? And who was the man in the truck? Larry might never know, but for now, the mystery remains. Steve Wallace starts the video by talking about his plan to visit the place where there was a famous Bigfoot Sasquatch sighting on Mica Mountain. Even though he doesn't really believe in Bigfoot, he's doing this to follow the requests from his viewers. He drives up the logging road in his old 1997 Toyota Corolla, trying to get as close as possible to the spot where someone named William Rowe saw something strange back in 1955. Steve says he's more worried about running into bears, especially black bears, because the area is known for wildlife, mostly bears. He takes steps to stay safe, like bringing bear spray and Moose's whistle. When he gets to their camping spot, Steve comments on how nice the place is, but there are lots of mosquitoes.
Now this is a beautiful spot. The mosquitoes are horrendous. That's about the worst that I've seen them on this trip so far. So first things first is I'll get this thermocell going, and that should kill the ones in this vicinity. Then I can set up our little rain tent.
To keep the bugs away, he sets up a thermocell, which he says should help clear them out. He then sets up a small rain shelter to keep them dry since the weather forecast says it might rain. He also mentions that there's proof of bears in the area, some blueberries have been eaten by animals, but he plans to keep food away from their tent so they don't attract any bears. His main worry is not surprising the animals and making sure they don't come near their camp. While setting up camp, Steve gets annoyed with the new Coleman 8-person tent he bought. Unlike his usual pop-up tent, this one takes more time and effort to set up, and it takes almost an hour to get it ready. Even though he's frustrated, he stays in a good mood and jokes about how much he misses his old, easy-to-set-up gear. Steve talks about how different ground types can make setting up tents hard, as sometimes the ground is too soft or hard, making the tent unstable. Steve also shares the story of the Bigfoot sighting in the area, especially the 1955 report by William Rowe, who said he saw something like Sasquatch near the top of Mica Mountain. Even though Steve still doesn't believe in Bigfoot, he knows some people do. He humorously says that he's more worried about a bear showing up than Bigfoot. As night falls, Steve starts a fire with wet wood, lighter fluid, and kerosene, joking that wet firewood is one of the hardest things to light. He also talks about how he's curious about the possibility of meeting something strange, even though he doesn't expect anything to happen. As rain starts to fall, he tries a tree knock.
That clear sky turned into rain pretty quick, actually. The can of chili is still turning into food over there by the fire. And no sign of anything out here so far. Really, I've been camping out here kind of in this area for years now, on the order of.
Where people tap a tree with a stick to see if they can get a response from Bigfoot. He tries it a few times but doesn't hear anything. He's not sure if he's doing it at the wrong time or place or if he just needs a better stick. Later, Steve admits that he's not really expecting anything but is still enjoying the camping trip. He heats up a can of chili by the fire, making Frito pie with corn chips, cheese, and chili. He says it's easy to make and something he should do more often. Steve thanks his viewers for their support especially those who've sent beer donation gifts to help fund his trips. He talks about how his job as a furnace repairman has its ups and downs, and the donations help him keep making these videos. He also mentions that he forgot to bring his own drink, but will open one soon. As the night goes on, Steve becomes more thoughtful, mentioning the clear sky and how beautiful the Milky Way looks.
The stars tonight are ferocious. The Milky Way is actually overhead going full Monty right now, like horizon to horizon. It's just incredible. I'm going to try and snap some stills of that because I can't get it on film.
He wonders if animals act differently on nights without the moon, thinking they might stay quiet because it's so dark. Even though the sky is peaceful, the rain starts falling again, and he keeps working on his meal. He hasn't heard or seen anything strange, but he stays cautious, always looking around. Around 11 p.m., Steve decides to try tapping a tree again to see if he gets a response. Still, nothing happens. He laughs at himself, saying he probably needs a better stick and that Bigfoot hunting is just a game of chance. He decides to relax and enjoy his Frito pie, even as the rain keeps falling. At some point during the night, Steve hears noises outside the tent. He quickly grabs his air horn, bear spray, and knife, ready to defend himself if needed.
I mean, close. There you go, my bear spray. What else here?
He's not sure if it's a bear, Bigfoot, or something else, but the sounds are close enough to make him nervous. After a little while, he stays calm and waits for the noise to stop. He checks outside but doesn't see anything, so he stays alert, unsure if it was just an animal or something more unusual. The night passes without anything bad happening, though Steve admits he didn't sleep well because he was worried about what might be outside. In the morning, he finds out that the strange noises were caused by some cows that had wandered too close to the camp, causing a stampede. Steve laughs and says the cows were probably just as confused as he was. There's no sign of Bigfoot or any other animals, but he reflects on how easy it is to mistake animals for something scarier. Steve takes a moment to sleep more, though he admits it wasn't the best night's rest. He talks about how many mosquitoes are still around, but overall the trip has been calmer than he expected. He ends by saying that even though he doesn't believe in Sasquatch, he stays open to the idea, though he's still more worried about bears. He finishes by reviewing the tent, saying it was a good purchase despite the setup issues, and that he'll bring it on future trips.